Call United Mechanical at 502-339-1133.
All right. All right. All right. All right. Welcome in, everybody. It's November 4th here on the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical. I'm your host, Roman Kelly, joined today by my co-host here, Matt Childress, for this first hour of the Mike Rutherford Show as we wait for Mike to get in. A little bit delayed, dealing with some things outside of work. But we're joined today by special guest on the Call Your Law Firm hotline, Mr. Rashawn Myers. Rashawn, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, man. It's a beautiful Tuesday afternoon. The sun is shining. It's a decent outside. It's a nice day to get out. You know, we don't know how many nice days we got left, but it's definitely a nice one to get out and, do a little walking before it gets dark.
Definitely is. Definitely is. Also joined today, like we mentioned, with Matt Childress. Matt, how are you today, sir? We just chatted with you on the Running with Roman show, but let the Mike Rutherford listeners know as well.
I'm great. Just like Rashawn said, I mean, it's a beautiful day outside. The vibes are high. We're coming off of one of the biggest wins I've ever seen. So, I mean, I really can't have a better day at this point.
We're here in the Louisville College of Business studios as we're going to go from 2:33 to 5:30 here today. And I don't believe we're actually going to get a Ticket Puncher show on the radio today. Seems like we've got Purdue coverage starting right at 5:30 on the Big X. So Ticket Puncher's only going to be on YouTube and the Ticket Puncher's X account if you want to listen to that and catch that. Also meaning we won't have a podcast for that for tonight to listen to as well. But like we mentioned, we're in the Louisville College of Business studios. Card fans, incubate your inner entrepreneur with U of L's top-ranked Innovation MBA. In 12 months, gain the confidence and connections needed to spark your entrepreneurial spirit. Learn best practices from our award-winning facility, serial entrepreneurs, venture capitalists, and national business leaders, and compete for thousands of dollars in startup funding and business plan competitions. Start your journey today. Visit business.louisville.edu/U of L MBA. Fellas, we obviously are going to be getting into this game straight away here. We've got some texts coming in on the Gameday Men's Health text line that we're going to get to right away as well. A couple that came in on the Running with Roman show. We're going to get my opinions. We're going to get Matt's opinions as well. Don't know how long we're going to have Rashawn, and don't know how long we're going to be in here without Mike. So, Rashawn, I want to get straight to it as we've got you on the Call Your Law Firm hotline. You were sitting courtside last night. You were over there in the court media booth, the media tables on the court, which is always probably, I'm saying always. It's a super cool experience. I've only done something like that for the TBT. I haven't gotten to do that for an official game yet, but it'll happen one day. I'll get there eventually, hopefully.
It's gonna happen.
But I want to ask you, overall impressions. We'll start with the team first and go individually, players after that. But overall impressions with Louisville basketball last night in their performance over SC State, winning 104-45. What did you think, Rashawn?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great night last night, a great start to the season. It's a different year and it's a different situation with the fact that Louisville already has played two pretty good opponents, rather than having a Kentucky Wesleyan or a Bellarmine, when they were Division II, or, Lenore Ryan, God forbid, it's a lot different when you start out with Kansas and start out with a Bucknell in your second game, and now you're playing against maybe the weakest opponent that you've played of the three games so far in your first official game. So it's definitely a lot different. It definitely feels like the team is a lot further along in the build with this being the case. So I do like that. As I said previously, you get kind of the Tennessee jitters out of the way, and it doesn't cost you anything in terms of your record on the season. So that's one reason I really enjoyed watching the Kansas game, even though it did not turn out the way Louisville fans would have liked it. I really do feel like the team looked a lot more comfortable last night, and that was probably globally the thing that I took away from it, Roman, the most, is just the simple fact that Louisville seems to be a lot further ahead even than they were last year with a more veteran group. This is a slightly, I would say, younger group, just because they are several new players, and you have a true freshman point guard. For them to be further along game 3 of the season, that speaks a lot to their intelligence as a team, and it just speaks to the leadership of guys like, Cason Pryor, even though he's not necessarily playing right now, Kobe Rogers, Ali Khalifa, Javon Hadley, those returning guys. It kind of speaks to their leadership to kind of bring all the new guys in and understand the way Pat Kelsey wants things done in year 2.
The defensive intensity last night was really on display from start to finish. What do you make of this Louisville team being able to stay in the game with that level of intensity when you get to a lead like that? That was probably one of the most impressive things for me, is that playing the way you played from start to finish, not changing up anything, if not getting even more aggressive, I feel like, in that second half due to, SC State not letting down either. You felt like, okay, we're not going to let up either if you guys aren't going to back down. So I really like to see that. Is that more so just the personnel, or do you think that's this coaching staff getting these guys all on the same page so far ahead of the season?
No, I think that's absolutely correct, and that was going to be my first question to Pat Kelsey in the press conference, but Coach stole my thunder and talked about it right in his opening comments to the media, was just the fact that he was really, he said that, when you have a game like this where, you have an overmatched opponent, you get a big lead, you can kind of get diminishing returns where teams kind of get up to that 30 or that 40-point lead, and then, they start screwing around and you kind of have game slippage. And he really didn't see that last night. And that was something that he really, commended the team for, was the way that they continued to play the play and not play the score. And that's definitely the way that, the best way that I can describe it. Louisville plays a desperate style of basketball. It feels like, how when teams are down in the last minute or the last 2 minutes, how they kind of go to that blitzkrieg style where they're playing extra aggressive defensively. They're jumping in passing lanes. They're trying to get down and get shots up quick. Louisville is playing the whole game like it's the last 2 minutes and they're down 10. Is the best way I can describe it. And just to watch it on full display last night and see guys getting more comfortable with that, it was awesome to watch, man. And if they can continue to play with that type of effort and everybody, knock on wood, can stay healthy, this Louisville team is going to be one of the most entertaining teams that I've watched probably in the last 30, 40 years.
Very, very entertaining. I asked Matt this just because I wanted to get into individual performances a bit. Who he felt like had improved, or who he felt like he saw a lot of positives from last night. And obviously the player you can't ignore was Kenai Roos. Matt, I want to ask you again, just because we've got, a little bit of an influx of listeners, because I'm sure Rashawn's going to have a take on this as well. You got into a little bit of what you liked out of what you saw from Kenai last night. Get into a bit of what you think the biggest changes in his game. Obviously, it's only been 3 games, Kansas, Bucknell, and now SC State. But so far through these 3 games, what have you seen from Kenai that you didn't see last year, or something that you wanted to be an emphasis of improvement in his game that you're now seeing?
So something we saw last year was he really played his role. He was never the guy on the floor, not even really once. He would come in and, kind of sit around. When we needed him to shoot, he'd shoot. If we needed him to kind of get a rebound, he'd get a rebound. But last night in the second half, you really, they just Pat Kelsey, no breaks, is what John Rothstein would say, and that's how Kenai Roos played. That dude, he was bringing the ball off the floor. We saw his ball handling skills. It looked like he really is getting into his size, and he's showing the dominance in his athleticism, and he's playing with so much more confidence now, in the sense of, when I'm on there, I can impact this game in a positive way that other players just can't, because they just don't have the physical prowess he has. Now, can he translate that into a top 10, top 25 matchup? We're going to see, and I really believe that he can. But that was the number one thing that I took away from Kenai Roos' play last night.
Rashawn, what do you like from Kenai so far this season?
For me, I think the most impressive thing about Kenai, and this is honestly dangerous for all of college basketball, not only the ACC, is that Kenai feels to me like he's taken on the Javon Hadley attitude. And, if you want a guy for your young players to really model their mentality after, Javon Hadley, and Coach Kelsey has talked about it, Javon Hadley embodies everything that, he believes in, and everything that this Louisville program is about: the tenaciousness, the fearlessness, the aggressiveness, and just kind of I don't take no crap from anybody type of attitude. It really feels like Kanai Roos has taken that attitude. But when you have a young man that has the raw tools to work with that a guy like Kanai has, and you give him that Javon Hadley attitude, that's a scary, scary proposition. And that was probably the thing that I noticed the most, is that while Kanai did some amazing things offensively, he was absolutely nasty on the backboards. He was nasty on defense. He guarded 1 through 5. The guards could not get around him. The big guys really didn't bully him. You know, one of the big guys tried to turn and bully him in the paint and go up with the jump hook, and Kanai almost snatched it out of the air like Patrick Ewing. Like, it was just to see the change in his body, to see the change in his attitude, and to just see him be that much more aggressive on both ends. That was probably the thing that stood out to me most. You know, like, you can talk about knocking down the jump shots and having a quicker release and, you know, the improvements that he's made with the ball handling, and all those things are outstanding. But I think for me, the value of a guy like Kanai Roos is what he brings in terms of attitude. Now when a guy like Hadley goes to the bench, or you don't have a guy like Cason Pryor, you have another guy that has that alpha dog, nasty, mean, physical mentality. And those are the types of guys that help you win in March.
They 100% are. I feel like watching Kanai, for me, the thing that I've noticed so quickly is that it's the demeanor. It's something about him knowing he belongs out there now, him knowing that I'm a part of what's going to be successful out here right now. Maybe it was fully just believing it after seeing it in live time with the increase of role, and you know, you're not taking plays off. You're not the third unit now, maybe at practice, if you even got to that point with the injuries we had. But I feel like when you watch him, you can see that he feels comfortable. You can see that he also knows what's actually supposed to be going down now. It doesn't seem lost, doesn't have the deer in the headlights anymore. And he wants to be a factor that is that intensity, right? He wants to know that he's bringing something. I feel like you can tell that he's trying to bring something to the game that is that level of intensity. Last season, he didn't seem like he was attempting to actually bring anything to the game, right? He just wanted to not make a mistake. He just didn't want to. I don't want to turn the ball over. I don't want to air a ball. That was the only goal for him last season. And now you can tell that he's actually going out there. It's like he's going to pick in his spots, knowing when to cut off the ball, knowing when to go out there and screen, knowing when to shoot, knowing when to not, knowing when to push it back out now. So the fact that he's actually confident in his decision-making, part of that's probably just being a second-year player in this system now, being told you're going to be more important now, getting to see your skill set improve out there in live time with practices, obviously because he's a better shooter, better ball handler now. So I think it's only a matter of time before he starts really consistently on both ends of the floor every single time down against higher level opponents looking like this, because he's got all of the, like you said, raw tools to be one of the best players on the floor at any given moment. Love what I have seen from Kanai. I will say, though, and this isn't a negative, I just will say there's things I want to see more of from Kanai because of those raw tools, Rashawn. I mentioned this to Matt, and Matt, interrupt if you want or at any point. There was a lot of moments last season where he would get the ball in a triple threat opportunity, and just because he's got a physical defender in his face trying to run him off the line, he wouldn't really know what to do with that now. Now you see guys, they know that he has the ball handling ability. They don't get up right in his face because they have to protect themselves from his slashing ability. They know he's in one stride going to be able to get to the rim if he just goes over the top, right? And I when he reacts in the triple threat and makes a decision and gets into the paint, he's keeping his dribble alive, which is really, really great. We did not see that from Kanai last season. He keeps his dribble alive when he gets in the paint, and now, Kanai, you're 10 feet away from the basket with a live dribble, and now you're passing it back out. Granted, this is an offense that moves the ball a lot, but if you're going to make such a positive movement to get into the basket or closer to the basket like that, he has the ball handling ability, he has the length, he has the stride, right, to where in one dribble you should be able to get to a spin move, a half spin, and we want to start seeing some shots from maybe 6 feet, 8 feet away from the basket when you're a player that's built like that, just because he should have the tools to be able to get around guys. He's got the size advantage. Pump fake, spin, little push shot in the paint. Kanai should be able to do those kinds of things as well. And it's only a matter of time before he starts piecing it all together, I feel like. But against a team like SC State, you are getting into the paint. It's only a matter of making those decisions now to try to get to the rim versus getting that ball out on the perimeter. But I'm not going to be mad at him making a decision that doesn't lead to a turnover or a bad shot if he doesn't feel like he's getting a good shot.
I was just going to say on that, Roman, is I think that one of the reasons we are seeing that with, Kanai and even some of the other guys is that, Coach Kelsey is always preaching to hunt great, and hunt for the best shot possible. And you're seeing a lot of guys when they are attacking. I mean, I even saw Sananda Frew attack off the bounce a couple of times.
Yeah.
We saw Zugris attack off the bounce. But when these guys are looking in, they're looking to paint touch and then figure out who's open to get, to get that wide open look, to take, pass up a good shot for a great shot, those types of things. And I think that's where we're seeing maybe some, not necessarily indecisiveness, but they are definitely looking to touch the paint and looking to spray to the corner, spray to the wing, kick it back out top. And I think that what you'll see is more efficiency with that as these guys get more and more comfortable to understand, okay, I've driven to the lane, I have a 5-foot floater that, I'm going to be able to knock down, or I'm going to be able to create contact, get the foul and one at the rim versus, I'm kicking it out to a shooter that's not really open, so that's not really going to generate a good shot. We saw some of that from not only Kanai, but from some of the other guys where you're kicking it out to a dude that's not open.
That has to reset, yeah.
You're Sananda, you're 5 feet from the basket, and, the guys is barely – even defending.
You're not getting double teamed. Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that'll just get better as these guys get more comfortable. But when you talk about where the team is in terms of flow and offensive continuity, they're night and day better than where they were even 2 games ago.
Yeah.
So I do think that that's coming, but it is impressive to see how much better these gotten in such a short period of time.
100%. And the only reason I make that comment about Kanai is because I look at the other teams that we're going to have to play last night and the way that they defend, right? Some of the teams we're going to play, Arkansas, Tennessee, I don't think they're necessarily all that skilled and crazy athletes necessarily on the defensive side, but there is a lot of size. They're on multiple positions, right? And if you're constantly passing it out, then you're not getting the defense to collapse. And those pass outs are going to guys that aren't able to find those looks. You also, it's just a matter of having the balance, which, like you just mentioned, it will come. They are going to learn to pick their spots, know which areas to look to find the shooter instead of just getting it out as soon as they can. But if you always are getting it out, now guys are going to stay home on their shooters and get into the paint. You got to get to the paint with reason, and that reason is to collapse the defense. You collapse the defense because they think you need help because you keep scoring on your man every time you get into the paint. Kanai is the kind of player that's typically going to have those advantages out there. So I just want to see him be able to take that size advantage matchup when he does get into the paint, take advantage of it when he does get it. But like you mentioned, they're trying to go out there and share the ball. They're trying to go out there and have the ball constantly moving, right? Nobody wants to be a black hole when that's not what's ever being asked. So I'm not mad at it. I just want to make sure we're going to be able to get those shots at the rim when it is good teams. So that's it. I don't have any negatives at all from the offensive game that I saw. Michael Brown and his ability to create open shots for other players, Rashawn, because he gets downhill with such quickness and then he elevates with such athleticism. He's hanging in the air. He has 2 or 3 decisions. He can finish, he can dump it off, or he can find somebody on one of those whip passes. One thing I have written down here, Matt, I want to ask you about it, or if something you've noticed. The left-handed passing ability of Michael Brown at pretty much any position on the court, there's just so many different angles where if you're at the top of the key 2 or 3 steps over to the left side, so you're on the left side of the floor, and the player on the corner, his man's on the block, right? He's in help defense position, meaning if you got the ball right to that shooter right now, he would have time to catch and go up before the defender would be technically contesting that shot. Not a lot of players can make that pass with the right hand. One, because it's going through everybody. If you try to make that with your right hand, it's going in front of your defender, and the next help defender on the wing is typically right there as well. He takes one step, takes his quick little step like he's about to attack the basket with his left hand, rises up with one hand, and then bullet pass to the corner with his left hand. Matt, that is like NBA level, next level, like Chris Paul, Trae Young. He created shots fully from that pass for Isaac McNeely like 2 or 3 different times.
I mean, the dude has shown that when he's like in rhythm, you can't stop him. Like he and that's not just offensively, that's defensively as well. He gets into like a really good defensive rhythm. But like you said, with his left hand, I mean, the one that I pointed out, the most obvious one was we got I think it was off a Zugra steal. It was a Zugra steal, and then threw it up the floor to Michael Brown, and does like a 180 without even like losing a step, without even it was like a no look pass with his left hand fully across the court
to
wide open Javon Hadley.
Yep.
And,
took 2 pass fast break.
And that was a pass where like, yeah, they were in a fast break, but because of the breakdown after the steal and dudes were like clamoring for the ball, the defense had caught up. So like if he doesn't make that pass immediately, Javon doesn't score there. Like you have to make a whole set.
He catches it, goes down, and it's a left-handed dribble. And if he waits another second, he can't make that pass. So it has to be a left-handed pass, and he's fully confident with either hand making a pass to anywhere on the floor. Seeing that this early in his collegiate career, Rashawn, knowing that that's going to be something that only is going to get better, that is like mouth foaming stuff right there when you watch it.
Yeah, it's funny, Roman, because it's I love seeing that from him. Like, the only 2 guys that even thinks to make some of the passes that they make are pretty much Khalifa and Michael. They both have that vision and just that ability to see guys, where other people don't even know that those guys are open. Even the guys themselves don't even realize they're open. And you have, Ali or you have Michael, bulleting passes over to them across the court. I know Isaac McNeely had at least 3 or 4 at the beginning of the game where I don't even know if Isaac realized that he was going to get the ball, and he's like, oh, shoot, I have a wide open, jump shot to start these games. But what the funny thing about it is that when you have 2 gifted passers as much as those, it really starts to everybody wants to get into the groove of passing it. And what I'm seeing early on, there were excellent passes made by everybody last night. There was a nice pocket pass made by Zugris. There was a couple of nice passes made by Fu. Kobe Rogers had some nice assists. Like, everybody's starting to get into the act. And this passing, it's still early, man, but this is one of the best groups of passers that I've ever seen. It's almost like everybody has that playmaking kind of point guard mentality. Everybody wants to get in on it. And I do think it starts with just when you have 2 gifted guys like that passing the basketball, it kind of overall makes the whole team IQ better.
Yep. It rubs off. It makes all the other players want to make passes when they see their guys cutting. It makes you a little bit more willing as well, especially when you got a coaching staff that's advocating for you to go out there and take those chances now early in the season, learn what works and learn what doesn't. 100% Kobe Rogers, I mean, his ability to get to the paint quickly and find that open man, whether it's the kick out or the dump off, it was great. I mean, I don't know if it was Zugris or did Zugris have a bounce pass to a Kanai dunk, or maybe it was I think actually Zugris and Kobe maybe assisted a Kanai dunk. But both of those guys, like, you can just tell that there's a very, very high overall basketball IQ with this team, and just the willingness is just, it's great. It's great to see.
I mean, Javon Hadley threw an alley-oop to Fu last night. That was something that Javon Hadley never even thought to really do that last year. If the ball wasn't in Chucky's hands, you really didn't see too many great passes. I mean, every once in a while, we would see one of the other guys. But, I mean, Hadley takes the ball, drives the lane, and then throws almost a no-look lob to Fu last night. Like that, everybody's looking to get involved in the playmaking.
It's very nice to see. It's very nice to see. We're going to get into more of that when we get back from the break coming up here in just about a minute or so. I think we'll have Rashawn coming and return. We'll have Rashawn returning with us here out of this break. I do want to get into the Game Day Men's Health text line as well, 502-414-1450. Game Day Men's Health is redefining men's wellness. No shortcuts, just results. Testosterone, peptides, weight loss, and sexual performance therapy. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. When we get back from this break, though, we're going to continue on this chat with Louisville basketball with Rashawn and Matt Childress. We're also going to get into what we saw in the other games of college basketball last night, just because I feel like there's a lot of fun action last night. A couple of other freshmen looking good as well that I want to get Rashawn's opinions on. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this right here on the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanics. Welcome back in here. It's the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical. Roman Kelly hosting while we wait for Mike to get in there, so we're going to have to get you unmuted. But, fellas, I want to get right into the Game Day Men's Health text line here as we got some texts coming in, a few that we didn't get into at the 2 o'clock hour. So let's get into these right now as we've got Rashawn still joining us as well. Let's see right where these start. Let's get this right here. Texter says, because the game was such a blowout, did anyone notice how every SC State player had the biggest mouth guards I've ever seen?
I noticed this while watching the
like
game.
The one football players wear, and not the slim one most basketball players use.
I literally noticed this while watching the game. I was sitting here, especially.
Hey, I'll tell you what, those guys were physical. That's the one thing, Roman. I'll tell you, they were just playing. They were literally playing football. Like they were just out there, just going, running through blocks. Guys were trying to set screens. They were just blowing up the screen. It was a very physical game, but it was entertaining. That's why I give them credit, because those guys came out there and they were going to play their style. They didn't slow it down. They started out in a little bit of a 2-3 zone to start the game, but that zone lasted like 2 or 3 possessions, and after McNeely knocks out a couple threes, they were done with that. But I give them credit. They came out and played the style that Louisville wanted to play. They played the way that they want to play, and hey, it was fun. It was entertaining. Too many fouls, but other than that, yeah, I enjoyed it. But yeah, they were definitely physical.
What did you think of the mouth guards, Matt? You said you were noticed it as you were watching it. I'll have something to say about this as well, because I heard something
when you brought up the player who, like you said, looked like a football player and was like pushing Kobe Rogers around. I mean, this dude was pulling his mouth guard out at every 4 seconds, and I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is huge. Like, I don't know if they thought that he was going to be like operating heavy machinery, or if they thought that he was going to have to put a helmet on at halftime. But this was something that I noticed while watching the game too, and it was really intriguing to me.
I was sitting there. I had some tickets from a friend, and so it was kind of going up and down with the media thing. There was a family behind me, and it was like a dad and daughter, I believe, or his 2 daughters, and the older daughter, him and her were basically like just commentating between them two of each other throughout the game. And like 10 minutes into the game, the daughter goes, "What are in their mouths? What does the other team have in their mouths?" And the dad's like, "Those are mouth guards." And she's like, "Oh, it looks like this. It looks like some big, huge something hanging out of their mouth." And I started paying attention to it. Like 3 or 4 different players had like this big, bulky mouth guard, and they were, like you mentioned, Matt, not keeping it in their mouth at all.
No, taking it out at any point they could.
It seems, yeah, if you're using some kind of like football mouth guard, some 1990s football mouth guard like that, it makes sense where you probably are never going to want to keep it in there. It probably doesn't fit. It's probably not very comfortable. I was very surprised to see, and like 4 or 5 different players had one like that too, which I thought was very interesting.
It literally looked like as if, like, you know how, like, did you ever play football growing up as a kid, Roman?
Not officially, no.
Okay, so when you were a kid, what you would do is you go to the store, you get your mouth guard, and you would boil it. And then, like, when you would boil it, it would form to your teeth so that it would fit correctly. It looked like these dudes had football mouth guards and just didn't do that whole process. They just put them raw. They just put them in raw, and those things hurt your teeth. They're so big. So, like, it was definitely concerning when I was watching, because they were beating up on us for a little bit, and I was like, I see why. They got these mouth guards. They got nothing to lose.
Yeah, they were playing hard. That's going to be an aggressive team going forward for sure. Texter says here on the Game Day Men's Health text line, 10 out of 10, no notes. If you find something to complain about for this game, you are someone who is never satisfied. I know SC State is one of the two worst teams we'll face this season, but this team was still really impressive on defense, holding them 0-12 shooting for nearly 9.5 minutes and keeping the defensive intensity that high for the whole game despite it being over with in the first 4 minutes is impressive no matter who you were playing. I felt the same way. Like, if you're pulling up against a D1 opponent, like, that's still very, very great defense. It was also great to see Roos feeling himself a bit, led the team in scoring, and got some confidence for that sophomore leap. Yeah, I think that is going to be another factor. Like, him having a big confidence boost with that first game of the season like this, knowing that he's going to be that's even more of a factor in his head now, like, concluding that you're going to have to be important for this team. Not for this team to win, but this is going to be plenty of opportunities for you to go out there and showcase what you've got and be a factor for us.
And Roman, I do want to just give a shout out to Ryan Conwell. Like the last two games, like I thought Conwell kind of got abused a little bit defensively in the first game versus Kansas, but the last two games, he's really come out and made it a point to play very aggressively at the point of attack. They even put him on the starting point guard at the very beginning of the game last night. And Conwell seems to be taking a lot more pride on the defensive end these last couple of games and kind of being that spear at the point of the attack. And then, to have him going that hard and then immediately switch and have Kobe Rogers come in after that, and then now Kobe's dogging you 94 feet. The amount of pressure that Louisville puts on the ball handlers, it does have a cumulative effect. And when you can do that, I don't care. I understand that South Carolina State's not a great team, but that's going to bother anybody because it's not only a physical fatigue, it's also a mental fatigue because it's like, where are these guys coming from next? We saw Isaac McNeely, going and slapping balls away from guys that's not even his man. You have the other big guys kind of digging in and taking a swipe. I mean, Louisville defends completely as a team. Last year it felt like a lot like we knew that Chucky was going to lock in and that he was going to shut his man down, but kind of everybody else kind of had their fits and starts defensively when they were going to really, really lock in. This year, at least early, man, everybody seems to be dedicated to, emptying the tank. That's the way Kanai said it last night, was everybody wants to empty the tank defensively and really kind of that be the calling card of this squad. And it's fun. It's a fun style to watch.
It is. And if that's what it's going to be this season, I'm all for it, right? And this is why Pat Kelsey wants to go and bring that many guys in. He wants to be able to constantly have guys come in and out of the game, keep their legs fresh, come in and defend absolutely as hard as you possibly can for the 6 minutes you're potentially going to be in, if not longer, if not less. So I think that's why it's important to go out there and get multiple guys who can defend. And you're right. Shout out to Ryan Conwell. I mean, he clearly also is like not fazed by whatever is happening out there. He's very willing to feed the hot hand. He doesn't think that there's some milestone he needs to go and reach every game because he's constantly just taking what the defense is giving. And you feel confident when he has the ball, right? There's a couple players out there, right? When Michael has the ball, I think, and more times than not, you feel pretty good about what's going to come next. It's a little bit edge of your seat because it's either going to be like a highlight. There's a potential highlight, so that's kind of the factor for him. But with Javon Hadley and Ryan Conwell, you just feel like that safety net, that security when they have the ball. You don't have to worry about the decision that's going to come if there's a potential broken play or something happens that they weren't expecting. If the defense bites, messes something up, now they've got to reset. When one of those two has the ball, though, you just pretty much, I feel good every time with what's going to come next after that. Texter says here, there isn't much to take away from last night's game considering how terrible SC State is. Rashawn, get into that a little bit. This isn't going to be a team that's bad this season by any means.
No. I mean, they were a team that, were right there to win their conference last year. They end up ultimately losing, I believe, in the conference tournament, which is why they did not make the NCAAs. But they were a good team last year. Coach Kelsey was very, very praiseful of SC's coach, a Cincinnati legend. He played on Huggins' 92 Final Four team. He said he thinks that he's really one of the rising young coaches. So, I mean, they lost a lot of guys from last year. They are featuring the guy who is the preseason conference player of the year. So, no, I don't think that South Carolina State's going to be a horrible team. I mean, are they going to be a good team? No, but I think they'll be, solid for their level. I'll say that. I think that they'll probably finish in the top 3 or 4 in their league. And, I think that that's the biggest thing is that while, yes, you're not going to go out there and you're not going to get up 60 and blow teams out like that, but I do think that there are still definitely things that you can take out of these games. And like I said, that's why I'm looking at the flow. I'm looking at, how guys look in their roles. Are they doing the right things? Because those are transferable skills. And even a guy like, to me, that I was watching, not necessarily for his shooting, but was for his defense, was Isaac McNeely. Like, Isaac McNeely was a guy that, playing against a team that's got smaller, quicker guys, were those smaller, quicker guys going to be able to get around Isaac? Was he able to stay in front? Was he able to body up? And he did an excellent job with that. Like, to me, that's a transferable skill. So I think if you know what you're looking for and you're looking for the right things, there's definitely things you can take out of games, even like last night.
Definitely. I kind of want to we'll get to the Game Day Mintel text line here, but we're going to get Rashawn's opinion on some of the games from last night as well, because that kind of makes me interested in hearing about what you think of some of the other teams in the ACC and how they performed, and just also other teams in the top 25 as well. Texter says here, Kenai Roos playing confident, Mike. No more timid Kenai. No Mike yet. He just texted me, let me know that still having some delays in their plan with what he was doing, him and Mary figuring some things out. But not quite sure how long it'll take for him to get in today, or if he'll even be in today. I'll keep you guys updated. Kenai is playing confidently, though. I don't want to put a gauge on what I'm expecting out of the leap, quote-unquote, for his sophomore season, Matt. I'm definitely not going to do it statistically, but, like, do you think he becomes a starter at some point in the season if he continues to play like that? Or are you thinking that there's, like, a massive leap, or do you think that he's just made the minor improvements that he needs to make to come and be a major contributor?
I think that with the way he played last night, if he keeps something like that up, then I think that he definitely could breach into the starting lineup at some point in this season. Do I think he will? No, I think that'll consistently be Javon Hadley. But I did talk to you, I think it was last week, and I said that it would not surprise me if we got to the Duke game on January 2nd or 4th, whichever day that was, early January, that we start seeing Kenai Roos maybe take over Javon Hadley's minutes and they swap. So, like, maybe Javon Hadley's still a starter, but we're seeing more and more Kenai as we go on through the season. That would not surprise me.
I wouldn't be surprised at that either. I think he'll just rack up more and more minutes as the season goes, but there was a pretty even set. I feel like there was a pretty even flip yesterday in the minutes. I think Kenai was playing pretty much the same amount of time most of the starters played yesterday. I'm going to go get the exact number here.
Yeah, Kenai last night played 21 minutes, 21 and a half minutes. Javon Hadley played 21 and a half minutes. So they literally played the exact amount of time yesterday.
Yeah, only bench player that played more minutes than Kenai was Kobe Rogers last night, who played 26 minutes, had 9 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Obviously, like we mentioned earlier, Kenai Roos, 20 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Shout out to Zugris, though, with the 3 steals. He was active defensively, I felt like, contesting well. He is going to maybe kind of be prone to fouling in moments he maybe shouldn't, but he only had 2 fouls last night. Probably got away with a couple as well. He got fouled hard, actually, on one where he went down. Good to see him bounce back up. But, yeah, I feel like SC State played super aggressive last night, and Kenai is going to have to be one of those players that just he has to come out and show that he has the ability to be more aggressive than what you're seeing from the other side, because he has all the tools to be so, alongside Simon DeFru.
I'm going to say this, Roman, though. Like, to me, the fact that, the prospects, even if Kenai is not starting, and I don't necessarily think they'll make any adjustments with the starting lineups, but you look at the prospects of being able to bring 2 6'10" demons off the bench in Kenai Roos and Kayshawn Pryor. Like, once Pryor's healthy, to be able to have, like, what team has 2 6'10" guys that come off the bench that can do what those 2 guys can do? Like, the most multifaceted, can guard several different guys defensively, can, make on the ball, make great passes. I mean, to me, I love the fact that you can bring those 2 guys and Kobe Rogers off the bench, because, those guys just completely change the temperature of the room when they get in there. Same thing with Zoo. Zoo's not a scorer, but what Zoo does with his physicality, with his screening, with his aggressiveness, all those guys are temperature changers. And when you can have those types of guys, those are the people that other teams hate, because it's like, you already understand how difficult it is, with the starting lineup when you have Conwell out there, McNeely, the talent of a Michael Brown. But now you have 3 or 4 dogs coming in off the bench that just wear you out. The other team just never gets a break. So honestly, I hope they leave the lineup as it is, because to me, when you bring those other guys off the bench, it almost, once again, psychological warfare starts to wear on the other team mentally as much as it does physically.
Yeah, going to a lineup of Adrian Woolley, Kobe Rogers, Kenai Roos, Ali Khalifa, Zugris, or Kason Pryor, That's going to be unreal. It's going to be unreal. We've now seen him in 2 games. He's throwing the double bigs out there in different moments. We saw some minutes last night between, what was it? He had Zugris and Khalifa out there at the same time. So he's going to...
He went to the Zoo and Fru lineup last night.
With the Zoo and Fru as well, he's going to definitely be willing to have Kaysen at the 4 with different guys. Also having Kaysen at the 5, I'm sure. Kaysen Pryor is going to have the ability to elevate this team to an even higher degree if he gets back to what he was, right? If he's able to be the player that he is in transition, be the floor stretcher that he is at his size, and just pull whoever his man is out of the paint, that's going to open things up for Ryan Conwell. It's going to open things up for Michael Brown. It's going to open things up for Adrian Willie. It's only going to make this team better when you have somebody out there who you have to stay even closer to and more attached to. So I'm really excited for that. Only a matter of time, too, fellas. I mean, he's been cleared, so I don't know when he's going to get out there. They're saying it's just a matter of him getting confident in that knee. I can't expect he'll come out there and immediately be playing like minutes like the other bench guys. Zugris obviously playing 16 minutes. Woolley playing 16 minutes. You get 26 from Rogers, 22 from Roos, like we mentioned. But Khalifa, 10 minutes. I think that Roos or Pryor will be in that range, coming in probably getting 2 or 3 minute spurts just to start off before he's getting those full run out there as one of the bench players, and maybe even putting himself into the starting lineup eventually. But Mr. Dependable, like they called him on the broadcast, Javon Hadley, it'll be tough to not have him in the starting lineup, I feel like, just with his defensive versatility as well. Rashawn, one thing I want to point before we continue on in the Game Day Mid-Cell text line, I loved the intensity of our switching last night. I get that's such a minor thing, but when the team is excited to switch and excited to change that matchup and keep their most intense defense on whoever is the closest player to them at all times, and you can see that they have a bit of like a team defense aspect of them doing that. They're on the same page. They're communicating. It's good to see the switching off ball like that, especially already on point this early in the season. Because, I mean, SC State was they tried to play fast. We didn't really let them, but they tried to move guys off the ball. We played a great deny on the perimeter and then just switched everything else, and they weren't able to really do anything with it with only having one ball handler like they had. So I love seeing that. Do you think we'll continue to see that going forward, or was that maybe just potential to the matchup? Specifically?
No, I do, and I think that you can test out a lot of that stuff with these guys because, you know, the one thing that I think that we kind of had, some people are holding kind of maybe some preconceived notions on the big guys, that they're kind of big and slow. Like Fru and Zugris move their feet extremely well for big guys. I mean, Solana Fru was all bit of 6'11", 260 pounds, but he is not slow of foot at all. When he got switched out on guards in the game last night, as well as the last game versus Bucknell, he did an excellent job of being able to stay out, contesting with long arms, but staying in front of his men. He did not get beat off the dribble once last night. And that's, once again, one of those things, Roman, that are transferable because you're not going to get smaller, quicker players than what you're facing when you're playing these smaller teams. These small teams look for those matchups where they can get switched on a big and take advantage of them. So if your big guy can stay in front of these guys, they can definitely stay in front of, you know, your Power 5 type of team. So, yeah, I do. I think that the switching is going to be a part of it, and this is something that Coach Kelsey is going to take advantage of. I think that he's still testing a lot of guys out. And, you know, he said it last night. He was very, very excited about what Sananda Fru brought from a defensive standpoint and just talked about how much he brings. But, no, I do. I think that the switching defense and those aggressive switches are going to be a part of what we see all year from this team.
And I'm going to be ready for it. We didn't get a whole lot of it last season, only a couple. You know, Javon Hadley and Terrence Edwards Jr. Javon, Terrence, and Chucky would switch things out on the perimeter a good amount. They tried to keep Rain on the same guy the entirety of the game. You don't want Rain switching if he doesn't have to, right? And that's kind of one of the main issues. You also don't want James Scott out there guarding guards if he doesn't have to, right? So that was kind of a bit of certain lineups where two guys can't switch, the other three can. We're going to have lineups where all five guys are switching, and that's going to be at least new to Louisville fans watching the Pat Kelsey system. So I'm going to be excited.
There's no Rain Smith this year. There's no Rain Smith guy this year that you can pick on. And that, to me, if you're a Louisville fan, that's got to get you excited because I think that was one of the, for as much as we love Rain, we knew that there was going to be 2, 3, 4 times during a game where Rain was going to get picked on and give up some easy buckets. I don't think you'll see that this year.
Matt, anything you want to add defensively? Anything that stood out to you? I've got one other comment that I wrote down here defensively about a player, but is there anything player or team specific that you saw that you kind of had noted down?
No, I mean, you guys touched on it. I mean, these are guys who, in their own right, can play incredible individual defense. I mean, the question with Michael Brown coming to the season was like, okay, can he use his length and his athleticism to his advantage? Because he was a little weaker on the defensive end, as we saw in high school.
Yeah.
And that's worked out. Like, I mean, he looks like he's getting to spots faster than we thought he would. Like, he's just out-physicaling guy. Like, he's using his length really well. And it's a team of guys who can play individual defense that are playing team defense, which, I mean, that's just the best thing you can ask for. Like you point out, Roman, that, like, these dudes look like they want to play for each other on the defensive end so they can get out and transition faster. And if that's how they're going to play all season, then, I mean, there's going to be a decent amount of games against some teams that we definitely should beat that we might beat by a lot.
Yeah. Kobe Rogers getting up, blocking the tallest player on the floor
That was
last
ridiculous.
night.
That was actually insane.
That was insane, like you mentioned, because that came off of where we made that miss, I believe, but they got the offensive rebound because we weren't able to secure it, and the player finds whoever that was, the big man, in front of the basket, and Kobe jumps with him, perfect contest, hand, all ball, move that, they say, the young cats say in the gyms, as you may know. That was super cool to see, and the other thing I had written down, Matt, the intensity of Kobe Rogers as a help defender. Kobe was, if you're a big man and you don't know that Kobe Rogers is on the floor and you don't know what he's prone to and what his tendencies are, and you're not strong-handed with the ball, he will come swipe it and he will come take it. He didn't get a lot of steals or turnovers like that necessarily, but he had one like that where he fully forced it. I think one where they called him for the foul. 2 or 3 different times, though, where he just, the big man or whoever it was, didn't see Kobe coming. Kobe gets a hand on the ball, and then they kind of force a 50-50 ball, force a loose ball from there, where SC State was still able to retain possession, but Kobe mucking things up and making things messy for him if they try to put the ball on the floor in the paint and they don't see him. That's probably one of those things that we're going to not necessarily notice too much now because of the opponents that we're going to be playing, but if he's able to continue that against the Power 5 opponents that we play and stuff, that's going to be huge for us. Your guards being able to help out defensively like that and just mess things up once the ball gets into the paint and do so without fouling can really, really turn you up defensively. So I was really glad to see that. We need a little bit more of that from Michael Brown, I think, but it's just a matter of time before he learns how to find his way defensively and off ball and stuff.
No, I mean,
you know, Roman, Kobe reminds me so much of 2 guys, Brandon Jenkins, who, you know, of course, played on the Final Four team back in 2005, and he reminds me a lot of Kevin Ware. He's kind of that wiry, quick-twitch athlete, long arms, super, super athletic, super aggressive. Like, what he like I said, it's just he's a temperature changer. He can do everything, and he's fearless. Like, to me, he reminds me so much of Jenkins and Ware. Like, just seeing him out there, when that dude is out there, I always feel like something might happen. Like, one of these games, Kobe's going to dunk on somebody. He's going to put somebody on a poster. It's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be off a putback. I don't know if it's going to be in transition, but it feels like every game, Kobe's going to be the guy this year that makes at least 1 or 2 kind of like wow plays during the game.
Definitely. Matt, something you wanted to add to that? You're about to start?
Oh, I was just going to say that, like, I completely agree with you guys. The only thing about Kobe Rogers that kind of gets me a little nervous, and I feel like it's going to come down to the wire when we're playing a really tough team, top 10, top 25 type team, is that he seems to get really into the moment on defense, and then that's when he kind of gets a little, like, sloppy, where he starts trying to do a little too much sometimes, where, like, I feel like he needs to learn to kind of stay home sometimes. Like, he doesn't need to go for the steal every time or the big block every single time. Like, I like that, and I want that tenacity out of a defender, but we've seen already in these couple of games where there's a few times where he gets a little too into the moment, and then it gets a little sloppy.
Yeah, you're right. He has made some couple moments, whether it was a blocking foul on himself for the reach in or just not being in the right place because you tried to kind of overhelp or overextend or cheat a little bit. That's, I feel like, going to all get worked out. He's going to be able to look at those things in film. Those are kind of like a fixable thing, but he is going to have to kind of rein that in. It's hard to probably rein that in when you're playing against opponents who are making it easier to do that kind of thing, though. I will give him the benefit of the doubt. When you're playing against a team that seeming like a handful of the guys got a loose handle on the ball, not really seeming like the best ball handlers, I feel like you're more prone to wanting to kind of do that thing. And when you're just, you're that level of a defender, that's kind of what he hangs his hat on. He's going to take those chances, right? So maybe something we have to live with a little bit, Matt.
No, it definitely will be, and it's something that I'm okay with living with. I mean, like if there's a guy that we can bring off the bench who is going to come out here and just harass every guard, power forward, it now centers in the game. Look, dude, use your fouls well, use them wisely, and if you're going to give that 100% every single game, I'm going to take it every single time.
Definitely. Texter says here, Roman got centelled by the Woj news. Roman, how does that make you feel? I didn't get centelled. I was skeptical. I found it hard to believe. I kept saying there's no way this is true, and just wouldn't allow myself to believe it.
What was the Woj news?
Where he got forcibly removed for berating the officials.
Oh, okay. I saw that stuff, but I didn't look into it and see what it was.
I saw the dude's account right after. I saw it right after. I looked at the dude's account and I was like, okay, 900 followers. There's just no way this is true. Plus, I can't picture that even a little bit.
Centel's never wrong. He's just early.
Centel, yeah, it's gonna happen now in like 2 months. Fellas, this is going to wrap us up here in the second segment of the Mike Rutherford Show. Thank you, guys, for tuning in, but stay tuned. We'll be right back after this. We'll have Rashawn Myers joining us for a little bit longer, I believe, and, of course, Matt Childress and I taking you up till 4 o'clock right here on the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical. Welcome back in here to the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical. I'm joined here by Rashawn Myers, host of the Wake Up 502 radio show right here on the Big X, 9 to 11 every Saturday morning. Rashawn, we got you muted. And, of course, Matt Childress, producer here throughout the day at the Big X every day, co-host to the Just a Cat show from 8 to 10 every morning as well. Fellas, I want to continue on with the Game Day Men's Health text line as we've got a good amount of text in regarding this Louisville men's basketball game. We'll also have Louisville women's on tonight, I believe, at 5:30. They'll be playing UConn.
Hey, Roman, I don't know how producer Matt does all these UK shows. That would drive me insane. that brother does the Lord's work every day.
How do you do it, Matt?
Honestly, like I'm getting my start out in the media world. You know, you're taking the work, you can get it, and I've kind of enjoyed it in the terms of like being the Louisville like personality on the shows. Like half the show hates me, half the show loves me, and you know what? I'm always there for the diversity in that, and like the diversiveness in itself is just always fun. I like the banter because at the end of the day, like I always get people texting into those shows like Matt's gonna be a Kentucky fan here one day, and I'm like, hell no, not a chance. There's no way in this lifetime will I ever do that. That's just not happening.
You do a great job at it, and you're right. Like I don't really think about that point of it. You're trying to get in where you fit in, right? You're getting in with the radio as a producer. Any on-air opportunity you can't say no to when you're just starting things off. I got as lucky as you can possibly get. I meet Joe Kelly, who's good friends with Rashawn Myers and Haven Harrington as I'm doing a different job, and then I obviously get the internship with Rashawn. So that's a U of L show, and everything just starts to align from there. You've kind of had a different path where things opening up and aligning for you, but they've just been UK based. So
it's definitely a funny talking point because whenever like I go tell like my friends or family ask me how life in radio is, and they're like, "Oh, well, what did you talk about the Louisville game yesterday?" I'm like, "Nope, didn't do that." And they're like, "Oh, what'd you talk about? UK football again this week." I enjoy talking about them losing. So if I'm in radio, by the time UK football gets good, then we'll say that my career has kind of derailed. I'm hoping I stay in radio in the UK shows when they're bad.
That's the key there. That's what's nice. You gotta keep them on their toes, though, Matt. Let them know it ain't sweet anymore out here after we get this win, hopefully on November 11th. Very, 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 very.
If we get a win on that game and I get to come in here the next, I think it's on Wednesday. Oh man, those UK radio shows, I'm gonna be having a good time.
I cannot wait for that matchup between the Cards and the Cats, November 11th. That's a Tuesday down at the Yum Center. I'll be there. Hopefully, I'll be ideally chirping if I can get it.
There's a texter on Kentucky Roll Call that they must be Rashawn Myers' best friend because every single 3 days. I'm looking at the text line, and it's a tweet from Rashawn Myers that they're bringing up and they're talking about. I'm like, this guy, I think, has Rashawn Myers tweets notifications turned on just to screenshot them, and it kills me every time I see him.
Forgot to mute there. Rashawn, he was saying that he always in the Kentucky Roll Call show. There's someone tweeting in, sending pictures of your tweets. We had Rashawn on recently, and someone sent in a screenshot of an old Tyler Eulis tweet of his. Whenever we get Rashawn here on the weekdays, I feel like someone's always trying to bring up an old tweet of his or an old point of his.
It's every day. I'm like,
I can't help it, man. I say what I feel, Roman. I say what I feel. I never back down. Plus, I love the fact that I drive TJ Walker crazy. That's like the funnest part of my day is listening to TJ fuss about my tweets.
Texter says, remember this text from Red Zeppelin. Red Zeppelin sends in a screenshot. It's a text into the text line, a screenshot of it. It says, I feel like K9 has too short of a leash on him. Felt the same last season. Let him play. What do you guys think of that?
I like the dog pun. But I don't know if you did it on purpose or by accident, but I agree with it.
I like the dog pun as well. Do you think he, before tonight or before last night, had too long of a leash potential or too short of a leash, Rashawn?
I mean, not really. I think that, Kanai is a guy that I think that Coach Kelsey wants to bring him along slowly. And, you don't want any diminishing returns out there. Like, to me, it got a little bit crazy last night. Like, brother was dribbling the ball way too much. Like, Kanai, there was one possession where he did his best, Terrence Edwards Jr., impression and dribbled the ball for about 25 seconds of the shot clock. Like, I feel like they want to keep Kanai focused. They want to keep him succinct. They want him making quick decisions. So I think they want to get him out there, let him play a few minutes, bring him back to the bench, talk about what went right, talk about what went wrong, and then get him back out there. I think that they are definitely trying to bring him along, but not trying to overload him, if that makes sense. So, no, I think I'm good with Kanai minutes. I think if you keep his minutes short, you can maximize him, his effectiveness on the court. And the hope is that, hey, by the second half of the season, dude's ready to just be completely unleashed.
Yes, that's what we want. Constant improvement every game. By the end of the season, he should be, one of the most versatile players we've got on both ends of the floor, I think. Texter, podcast random thoughts guy texted in here. He says, PRTG here. Man, sucks being a podcast listener when tickets pop up. Y'all are like the admin when the cheerleaders at Freedom Hall threw the free stuff to the rich people in the lower level. Feed us peons too, JK. I'm definitely scared of every game left. Not sure how you couldn't be. My random Olympic trait is plugging things in at awkward angles behind the furniture.
A lot to break down in that text.
My random Olympic trait. I don't remember getting into random Olympic traits at all. I tend to forget the previous day's show topics very quickly. Do you guys have an Olympic trait, Matt? Rashawn, do you have one?
Oh, man.
Something you do, a little weird thing that you do at an unreasonably good level?
So I know mine.
Go ahead, man. You're good, Rashawn. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say that I probably mine would be grabbing things from in between the seats in the car while I'm sitting there. Like, I can grab things that have extremely long fingers, so I can use them like chopsticks and pretty much grab anything all the way down to the floor. So that would probably be mine.
What's yours, Matt?
Mine is going to sound really weird. I'm a very, you guys know I'm not that tall of a man, okay? I have a very low center of gravity. So, like, I'm difficult to pick up. Even though I'm not heavy, I'm very difficult to lift. So, like, if somebody was in, like, a deadlifting competition, they would struggle if I was on the mat.
Really?
I can't, it's something I can't describe. I can't describe it, but it's just been something I've lived with for my whole life.
I don't know if I have one. I really don't. I probably don't. Maybe I'm lame. I mean, that's not lame to not have one, but I feel like I'm, like, above average at a lot of things, but not insanely good at anything like that. Like, I mean, I've said this before, like I could wheelie a bicycle, but I can't even do that abnormally good for people who know how to do that at this point in life. I feel like paper ball trash toss with my left hand in the room. Like when I get locked in.
So you're the Michael Brown of trash basketball.
Yes. Look, paper trash ball, basketball, left hand floater type of thing. I'm money. That's a weird one. I feel like that's also like the same with like the beer pong.
Okay.
When you have to do the celeb shot with your left hand, I feel like I'm pretty good at that.
Have you ever hit a celeb shot in beer pong? Either of you?
Oh yeah. Because you got to do it with your left hand.
It feels good because like somebody calls you up there, you haven't even played yet, and then you sink it and you just walk off and sit down. You're like, yeah,
Yeah.
I just do this.
You guys know what it is. Texter says K9 is E5. Should I know what that means?
Yeah, Earl Clark.
Earl Clark.
Oh, okay. Not yet. Not yet. E5. Duh. I don't know why that didn't register like that. He's not that yet. Earl was very polished very quickly, I feel like.
He was a McDonald's All-American. So, yeah, he was the man.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have.
But no, I can see the vision. If I squint real hard, I can see the vision of what the texture is looking for. Absolutely, I think that he can become that, get a little bit stronger. But I mean, E5 was one of the smoothest guys. He played point guard in high school at 6'10". So E5 just had a different level of playmaking and just calmness and just smoothness to his game. So yeah, Kanai's got get a little bit further down the road before he can do it. But I definitely see the vision.
Texter says, Scoots Hater here. I love the defensive intensity in the first half. It reminded me of the Patino intensity back in the day. Michael looks bleeping awesome. Woolley and Kobe, I feel like, still have some things to figure out when it comes to how to operate in the system. I did absolutely not have Kanai being the leading scorer last night on my bingo card. Final reminder, Cal is very dangerous and must be taken very seriously, Mike. Go Cards. Rashawn, I'll shift gears to that real fast. How worried about you are for Louisville football in their next opponent, Cal, coming to town this Saturday?
They have a true freshman quarterback, Roman Kelly. I am not worried about California at all. Louisville's about to come back home. They're gonna smush them. Like I'm 10 out of 10 confidence level. How y'all like to do confidence?
Wow, you threw out the 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Wow.
If Louisville gets caught, it's not gonna be by California. I'm just gonna put it right there.
Okay.
You heard it, Roman. So if we lose, just like Boston College, it's not my fault this time.
Okay.
It's Rashawn Meyer's fault if we lose.
Rashawn putting the 10 out of 10 in his professional opinion. He thinks there's no way Louisville loses this Saturday to Cal. I love that confidence, Rashawn. I'm up there. I don't know if I can go 10 with Miller under center again. The opponents that I went with the 10 for this season, I felt like it didn't matter what Miller did. But I don't know if that is the case for any other opponent on the schedule. Kentucky's defense is not a pushover defense by any means, so.
But their offense is a really pushover offense.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 points for
Quite
like
literally
75% of the game, and you win 10-3 against an Auburn team that was literally trying to lose, like doing everything in their power to lose that game to get Hugh Freeze. The fans were cheering for Kentucky, Roman.
Auburn trying to lose, and they still couldn't. You still couldn't score more points than that. That's Kentucky football for you right now. That's Kentucky football. Yeah. I don't think that offense is going to scare us at all.
Listening to T.J. Walker try to, in his head, figure out how Kentucky can go out there and beat Florida and beat Vanderbilt and beat Louisville. Like, dude, none of that is happening at all. Kentucky sucks. Auburn just sucks just as bad. Like, I'm sorry. Like, no, it's not happening.
Rashawn throwing some shots out here.
I mean, I'm just saying.
That's what we're supposed to do.
No.
The rivalry sport.
It was the worst football game in the world last. Like, that Auburn-Kentucky game was terrible. It was awful. It was bad football.
It was
they're
really
both
bad.
just garbage. At the end of the day, they're both just garbage programs, period.
Yeah, I feel like Freeze was fired before that game started. Texter, or was that? Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I didn't think Kanai was going to be the leading scorer last night. What do you guys think of Adrian Woolley? I'll start with you, Matt.
I mean, I think the same thing that we thought last week, where, like, the talent is there. We know what he can do. It's just that, like, he's just kind of got to get into his rhythm in terms of, like, putting it into game time, which I think will come as the season goes on. We're not asking too much of him right now, but I will monitor it in sense of, like, how long it's going to take him to get into that system and make it efficient. Might be of concern later on, but right now I'm not concerned at all with Adrian Woolley.
What about you, Rashawn?
Yeah, I think that of all the players on the team, Adrian Woolley probably has the furthest to go, and that's including Casey Pryor. Casey Pryor has not played a game this year, and I think that's just because I feel like Casey is the type of dude that so unrealistically believes in his own abilities. Dude's going to come out and be like YOLO from the first moment he's back on the court. But Woolley seems to be a guy who is definitely trying to figure out how he fits into this Louisville team and what his role is. A lot like Terrence Edwards Jr. was, and it took Terrence until mid-December to kind of shake out of that, and really it took to the Kentucky game where he honestly just started to really come into his own and kind of take that identity with the team. And I think Willie's the same way. I think he's getting there. He was a little bit more aggressive last night, but he still just seems to be doing more thinking than just playing. But once he gets there, I mean, he has all the talent to be tremendous. I like what he's doing defensively. When I talk about him kind of having a ways to go, I think it's more offensively what he's supposed to do when he has the ball in his hands and what he's supposed to be doing off the ball.
Yeah, one thing I've kind of noticed about Woolley, and maybe I'm overreacting over the 3 games, and it's a weird feeling because I get excited when Woolley has the ball in his hands. I want him to create off the dribble. I've seen the tape from Kennesaw State. Any shot type he wants, he can get to off the dribble as of in that tape from last year. And we've already seen him be able to create separation, get downhill, show that he can get by his man. it's only a matter of time before he's able to just put all of that together. I feel like you guys have both mentioned, he does have it all, right? It's not like a couple of guys last year having to adjust fully to different play styles or anything like that. He's seeming like he knows, or like adjusting to aggressiveness. He seems like he's already adjusted to that aggressiveness like fully. He knows how to defend. He's pretty much a cutthroat defender. He's not gonna back down from anybody, and that's a really positive sign. I think though, he is in a better position to succeed offensively when he is off the ball. When he's able to attack those closeouts on the perimeter because he's such a threat as a shooter, I feel like the decision-making off the catch has been better than when he's had to create things for himself on the dribble. So I'd like to see maybe him end up in those wide-open corner spots, and if there is fast, hard closeouts, you're going to see that skill shine, I think, when he gets to the basket. But it's just a matter of him getting comfortable out there, and kind of like Kanai's issue last year, not wanting to make that mistake and being sure about what that decision is. That's kind of where I'm at with Woolley, but he definitely has a little bit ways to go in terms of that aspect, the mental aspect. Texter says, hopefully we won't overlook Ohio this Thursday night while we're all pondering about Kentucky next Tuesday. I don't
Jackson
think so.
State.
Yeah, I think they're confused with
Jackson State. You said Ohio?
Yeah.
It's Jackson State.
I don't think we're going to overlook anybody. I don't think Pat Kelsey's prone to that. I don't think he's showcased that he's going to allow anybody to overlook anything because of how much he pays attention to detail for every opponent that they see. They're looking forward to Jackson State. They're ready to go have another performance like this, and that's, I mean, I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it, but that's, I would assume, the most important thing for them.
It's also just like really hard.
That actually says the most important day in the history of the Louisville program is what's happening the next day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if anybody's not going to allow his team to look past, and if you think that Javon Hadley or Kobe Rogers or Ali Khalifa, or any of those guys that know the drill, they are not going to let anybody be looking forward to Kentucky. So they will. Jackson State will definitely have Louisville's full attention on Thursday night, guaranteed.
Go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say that, like, I don't even think you're capable of overlooking a team at this early in the season. I mean, there's no tape out. So, like, even if we wanted to, like, if Pat Kelsey was like, look, you guys are just talented enough to beat this team outright. We don't need to look at tape. We don't need to run sets. You're just going to go out there and just play basketball. I mean, Kentucky has no tape. They're playing their first game tonight. Like, I mean, we could look at Georgetown. We could look at Purdue, but both games were the only thing you can really grab from them is that they're a poor shooting team right now. Like, they played two completely different brands of basketball in both of those games. So, like, it's really hard to even look too far ahead when there's so little substance to take from.
Yeah. I think they're trying to get things right, and they're looking forward to the next opportunity to work on the things that they need to work on before they get to that big opponent. Texter says, Tampa card here. If you had to set a money line for U of L football to win out the regular season, what would it be?
Ooh.
Plus 170.
Did you hear that, Rashawn? Matt says plus 170. U of L football to win out the regular season. It wouldn't be like a money line. That would just be like, what would the odds on that be?
Oh, plus, I'm not a big gambler, so you'll tell me if this is terrible or not, Roman. But I would say around plus 200, probably. I think that it's definitely not a even bet, but that SMU game is what scares me. I'm not worried about Clemson. I'm not worried about Kentucky. I'm not worried about California. But that SMU game scares me to death. Louisville does not play well in the state of Texas. I believe they just got their first win down there in the bowl game. What was it, last year? But yeah, they don't play well in the state of Texas. They tend to get blown out when they go down there. I might just still be having PTSD from the Lamar Houston game, but until they get past that game, I cannot. I can't ride with 11-1 until they get back.
I can understand that. Louisville plus 360 to win the ACC conference game. ACC championship conference. ACC conference championship game. Sorry, spilling my words here. At plus 360 to win that, I would say you're probably right, Rashawn. If they created that, it'd probably be about plus 220 to plus 250 for us to win out.
Okay.
I think we'll be favored in the Clemson game. I think we'll be favored in the Kentucky game. SMU, it'll be tough. I think you'll maybe see a really close line in SMU's favor. I'd imagine it's probably 2.5, maybe 3.5, which at that point it would feel high. I think that'll be a kind of a back and forth game just because they have been a pretty good defense and a pretty good offense here in the last few games, but not really looking extravagantly good at either department. I am still scared of that game though, just because it's a good team on the road with an athletic quarterback who can beat you himself with his feet. That's always terrifying. So I agree with that fear there, Rashawn, but I'd say plus 250.
Yeah, agreed.
Texter says, Riddler here. What an absolute butt kicking last night. More of that, please. Imagine if we shoot the lights out what we do. We hit 150. Mike, what's your take on how chesty we should be towards UK fans right now? I plan to shut my mouth given how we haven't won in what feels like a decade. Hope others do the same. Also, I see Devin Ree is on our next opponent's team.
Really?
Devin Ree for Jackson State?
I did not realize that. That's one to keep up with. But, hey, I'm going to tell you this. Louisville fans, y'all don't have to talk smack, but guaranteed, if y'all follow me on Twitter, that's at Rashawn, Raashaan. I will do all the smack talking for you. I know you all believe it might be bad karma. My mouth never stops. So Kentucky fans, T.J. Walker included, will be tired of me by the time that game tips off against Kentucky. I've been saying it since the summertime that once I saw the rosters for the two teams, I felt really, really good about Louisville's chances because I just don't believe Kentucky can shoot the basketball. So, yeah, I will be talking a lot of smack before the game rolls, guarantee you.
I'll be talking smack on game day. I won't be doing a whole lot before then just because, like the Riddler says, it does feel like we haven't won in quite some time. I also genuinely feel like we have the better team top to bottom. Last year, I felt like we had the better roster at the time of the game. Obviously, with the injuries that we had, it was a bit of a toss-up. I also think they had a couple performances out there that just took them over the top in that game. I think this will be a little bit different, though. I think you're going to be defending a little bit differently than we did at that point of last season, and we're going to be shooting much differently than we did at that point of last season. Granted, we didn't shoot terribly in that game, at least not in the first half, but I think you can get as chesty as you feel should be natural. I'm not going to tell anyone not to get chesty. I'm not going to tell anyone not to talk if they feel like they have the desire to. But
it's a rivalry game. Do what you want.
They beat us last year. Pope beat Kelsey last year, so we're 0-1.
I can't be afraid of a team that has Jalen Lowe as their starting point.
I can't either, Rashawn. I can't.
Jalen Lowe is garbage. And Kentucky fans, if you all are listening, Jalen Lowe is garbage. Dude can't guard a cone. He can't defend a cone.
He can't.
He sucks. He can score. He's quick. He can finish at the rim. I'm not hating on him. He can score. But dude cannot guard anybody. He probably can't guard me, and I'm almost 50 years old.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what they look like defensively this year. They do have a lot of depth. They've got a good amount of size. Not a lot of shooting like we thought they may have, but they're obviously going to have to get a couple pieces back and see how certain players improve their shooting in this system. It'll be interesting to see for sure. But the defense will be interesting this year because they've couple more defenders than Mark Pope typically has, but a couple players that are going to be playing big minutes who aren't the best defenders. So I'll be tuned in heavily for this matchup. I'll be probably not able to refrain from my trash talk come game day. Texter says here, got on my 2013 cut the net shirt because that's how I'm feeling. I know SC State is probably super. I don't know if I can say that, but sheesh, man, what a game. 1 week till we blast the Cats back to legs.
That's what I'm talking about. See, that's what I'm talking about, fans. Let's get excited. That's what I'm talking about.
It is time to get excited. It just feels so odd playing this game so early, Rashawn, that for some reason my brain still hasn't fully registered that we're in a week from today, 7 days.
Actually, I wanted to ask you all both this question.
I mean, it's coming quick, man.
Go ahead, Matt.
I wanted to ask you all both this question. So on Kentucky Roll Call today, we got into the debate of the Kentucky-Louisville game, and we got into the debate of, like, them having the chance. They're both really good teams this year that could possibly meet up in the tournament because they're both going to be. We're expecting both of them to do well in March, right? So, and we got into the debate of they don't really like the idea of playing Louisville in the tournament because they don't want the idea. They don't want to even have the thought in their head that they get knocked out of the tournament to their rival. To me, I was like, I feel the opposite. I would love to play Kentucky in the tournament because the opportunity you have to knock out your rival completely outweighs the thought of losing that game. And I want to know your all's opinion on that. Do you all like playing Kentucky in those situations or no?
Go ahead, Rashawn.
So I'll say this. I did not mind playing Kentucky in 2012 because, I mean, UK was the 800-pound gorilla in that tournament. Like, to me, I just was thrilled to be in the Final Four. So it was one of those situations where I looked at it as, yeah, we have no business winning this game, but if we could find a way, when Peyton Siva hits the three and it's a tie ball game with like 3.5 minutes to go, I was in heaven. Even though Kentucky ended up winning the game, Anthony Davis ends up cutting the nets down. Like, I love that game. I'm okay with that. Now, you follow that up the next year, and Russ Smith and those guys are in the Sweet 16 playing Kentucky. That one was a little bit more nerve-wracking because Louisville should have been good enough to win that game, and I felt like they had played well enough to win. And losing Kentucky, that was a crushing loss. So it just kind of depends on the stakes. If I feel like I know I have the better team, then maybe I'm okay with it. But unless it's an underdog situation where my team is terrible, I really don't want to play Kentucky in the tournament if we don't have to. And if we do play them, it needs to be like in the Final Four.
That was going to be my point right there. If it can be in the Final Four, that's where I would start to like it. Anytime before then, you're feeling like your rival prevented you from doing something great. That feeling gets really, really tough right there. No one likes that. This is going to wrap us up here, though. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this right here on the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical. Welcome back in to the Mike Rutherford Show here. Roman Kelly hosting, joined by Matt Childress, presented by United Mechanical, right here on the Big X. United Mechanical is Louisville's MVP for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration. Call United Mechanical, 502-339-1133. As Matt and I take you into the 4 o'clock hour here, Matt, we're going to get back into the Game Day Men's Health text line. Shout out to Rashawn Myers, host of the Wake Up 502 radio show from 9 to 11 on the Big X, joining us, giving his takes on Louisville basketball and their performance last night against SC State, and a couple of football takes as well. And a couple of, I don't know what we call those, just not necessarily claims, but making his presence felt with his opinions on UK right now and how this basketball team's going to look. I'm going to sit here and say it. I agree with him on all of those opinions on UK.
I just can't wait to come into Kentucky Roll Call tomorrow and see all of his tweets screenshotted in the text groove.
But we are going to get back to the Game Day Men's Health text line because we've got some people sending their thoughts in, sending their questions in, and we want to get to them and get these read and discussed here. Matt, texter says, number 32 on South Carolina State wanted to just tackle people yesterday. And that's very true. He was playing hard. He was playing aggressive. I props to them for still playing hard after getting to such an early, massive deficit. I mean, you're just getting pushed around out there in terms of the scoreboard and what we're able to do offensively, and they still are trying to play aggressive, trying to play hard. So, never going to get mad at that, but at the same time, you're not really playing clean basketball either with that big of a deficit in a game that isn't going to have any changed outcome from a certain point. You don't want some crazy injury happening from some unnecessary flailing about, right?
Oh, yeah. Like, if I saw them, pushing dudes around like that.
Like, if Kobe got hurt.
Yeah, and then saw Michael limp off, I think all of the city of Louisville would have raided the center.
Refreshing the playlist here. Yeah, and you're completely right. They weren't happy. The crowd wasn't happy about it. You can hear it. But that's what that team's going to do. They had a couple guys like that. They were very willing to put their chest into our guys and try to make something happen defensively. Texter says, are we buying the Kanai sophomore leap, or was this the result of an athletic freak picking on a bad team?
I'm buying it.
You're buying it?
I'm fully buying it.
You're buying the Kanai Roots.
We're seeing too many changes on things that we requested him to change after the season ended last year.
Good point.
It looks like it's too directed. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't look random. It's like, oh wow, his shot looks better now. You know what I mean? Like, it's
the decision making's a little bit better.
It's at all levels right now.
A little bit better.
It's at all levels.
I don't know just how much better all of those things have gotten, Texter. Basically, here's where I'm at. Because it's hard to gauge just how much he's improved when you're looking at a Bucknell and an SC State, and that not being the average opponent you're going to see in more games than not this season, it's hard to just fully say he's made the leap in every facet that we've wanted him to make as much as he can make it. It's going to still take time. It's not like after a second offseason and a full season, he's a perfect player. But like Matt just mentioned, the little things that you wanted to be improved, right? How you looked once the ball touched your hands in this offense, the decision-making when he was a ball handler in transition. I mean, we didn't want Kanai really having the ball on fast breaks. We wanted him to be on the very end, the receiving end of fast breaks, and not really much before then. You weren't certain he was going to always make the right decision. And now he's consistently out there making the right decision. So it's just a matter of him doing that against better defensive talent and doing it consistently. So I'm basically, I believe it's happening. I just don't want to say that it's I don't want to put a number or anything on how much of a leap we're going to see, just because it's still going to take more time. He still has things to improve, but he's improved the things that he needed to. Texter says, do you guys think we're going to keep up and even possibly expand the press and try to play like some of the Patino teams and go full court?
I think we do 100%.
I think so. I think it'll be interesting to see what this team looks like when they're pressing against other top 25 teams and we are potentially at a deficit, right? When we're losing in a game, even though I don't think the time frame in the game will matter. If it's a close game, I don't even think we necessarily have to be losing even to see a press. I'm sure he's got something in the works. You've now have 5 I shouldn't say 5. You've got multiple rotations where you'll have 3 or 4 really good defenders out there at all times, if not 5 defenders out there at all times. So I think that he has to take advantage of that, Matt. You've got to try to incorporate some full court traps. There's a couple of teams out there that are going to be similar to that SC State team, meaning the ball handler, their lead guard is really the only creation that they get from that position, and playmaking. And I'm certain that you're going to try to go and take advantage of those teams that have that kind of a point guard who you're not really letting other guys bring the ball up. You're not really letting other guys be a playmaker in the offense and initiate offense. You got to go and try to make those guards who are the one with the ball the worst night possible. So already seeing the full court pressure, I think we're going to see some traps for sure.
Oh, 100%. Like, especially, like, we've talked 100 times about, like, this team having so much depth. Can it hinder them? Because, there's the question of, like, maybe guys aren't getting into rhythm because they're not getting the minutes they need to kind of get into that rhythm. But at the end of the day, the one point of the depth is that you got more legs than the 90% of the country. So, like, if you're in a situation where you're getting behind, or even maybe it's a close game with a team that doesn't have as much depth with you, if you're running that press in and out, in and out, in and out, you can swap out guys more than, like I said, 90% of the country can. So, like, you just have a higher motor. You just have the stamina advantage to run things at a high and efficient level like that. So, like, it would not surprise me if we see the press come out a lot. I mean, we already saw it against Kansas. We didn't really see it. I feel like we saw it a little bit against Bucknell in the first half, not like a lot. But, I mean, we were up 30 pressing these dudes last night.
Yeah, pressing hard as well. Matt, I want to shift before we continue on with the Game Day Men's Health text line. We do have a handful of texts we haven't gotten to yet, just a few. I want to look into some of the other performances last night in college basketball. Did you have anything jotted down, any games that you were maybe able to look at the highlights to? I will admit I thrived on, like, the 2-minute highlight videos today, just because there's too many games where I can't go watch the full condensed game, right? The condensed game highlights where it's basically every May basket that goes in the game. They have that on the footage. Those are 20-minute long videos, if not longer sometimes. So I did try to watch as many highlights as I can, and a couple of games where I did just tune in live for a couple of minutes, see some things. Couple of different things I want to get into here. I think that we're going to get a good improvement on the middle of the pack in the ACC. Granted, it's one game plus the exhibitions, but from what I've seen statistically in the exhibition games from some of these teams and how they were able to dominate their opponents, and then last night, Syracuse looked good. Their point guard goes down. They're not the point guard. Their point guard is Nathan George. Their off guard, their combo guard, J.J. Starling, which was a transfer from Notre Dame, he goes down in, like, the first 3 minutes of the game. And Kean Anthony, Carmelo Anthony's son, true freshman that playing there now this season, has to come in early and play a lot more minutes in this game than he originally planned to. Their coach did come out and say he was going to be fine. It seems like it's a hamstring injury. I don't know how fine he'll be. But Kean Anthony seemed like there wasn't a drop-off in the quality of play you got from him. Granted, it put Nathan George even more on the ball as a playmaker for them, just because you're not going to ask true freshman in his first game to come out there and conduct offense as a playmaker and passer. J.J. Starling can a little bit more experience doing that. But I still thought Syracuse looked really good. I thought NC State looked really good, Matt. Were you able to catch the highlights on either two of those games?
I did a little bit. I didn't get to, like, sit down and watch the whole, but NC State is the one that really caught my eye. I mean, Will Wade has these dudes already full bought in. Like, not even them, but just the fans as well in general. Like,
the crowd was electric.
The crowd was electric in that game. I think that NC State will surprise a lot of people this season. Like, I agree with you. I think the middle of the pack in the ACC is going to have incredible improvement. I'm still not full bought into Miami yet. I did watch a little bit of their game. They have the talent and they have the means and the coaching to be good. I'm still not there yet on them. NC State's definitely my, like, team to watch for right now.
Yeah, Miami will be interesting. Miami should be interesting. They've got a few players on that team, a couple of guys that feel like they can be really good bucket getters. Shelton Henderson, obviously a highly touted freshman that they were able to acquire. He looks good. So I'm excited to see how good they can be. Do we want to do a way too early ACC preseason prediction just because we didn't do that before the season technically started?
We can.
Who do you think finishes first?
I think Louisville finishes first.
Really? You got Louisville over Duke?
I think that Duke is not as fully sound as we think they are. I think a lot of it is Cameron Boozer. Now, Cameron Boozer is a talent. I mean, the dude is arguably the best player in college basketball, and I don't know if number 2 is close. But I think that it's not going to be like a Cooper Flagg last year, where he has the like Colin Knipples, in the backcourt to help him out.
Yeah, a little less help.
I think that it's going to rely way too much on Cameron Boozer, where they're going to they're still going to be good, but I don't think they're going to be like national championship caliber, ACC championship caliber like they were last year. I mean, we pushed Cooper Flagg and Colin Knippel and all those guys to the brink in an ACC championship game with a dwindled team to injuries, where we only rotate like 6 or 7 guys. If this team is healthy going up against that team, I feel really good.
I like that. Not a bad breakdown in there at all. This is definitely a Duke team that's going to have a different level of skill out there on the perimeter than they had last season. And Louisville, a lot more skill out on the perimeter than we had last season all around. So, well, not a lot more, but just more options, right? More ways to attack you from the perimeter with more guards and more shooting. So, it's weird because Duke does have the size to be a good defensive team. And they've got, all around, they just got the personnel to be a good defensive team. I just don't know how long it's going to take. You've got a couple, you're relying on freshmen there.
Yeah, you're relying on freshmen, and then you're also relying on
the returning players weren't like starting stars.
The only guys you're bringing back were averaging like 4 or 5 points a game. You know what I mean? They were barely playing. Now, are they good? Yes, they're still good players, and the freshmen you're bringing in are also good players. But to me, it's one of those where, like, it's way too many brand new pieces to me look at you right now and be like, oh, they're winning the ACC 100%. You know what I mean? It's way too hard for me to say that. I think that in what I've seen so far, in the Duke games I've watched and the Louisville games I've watched, that Louisville looks like the more complete basketball team, whereas Duke, just has the best player in the country on it.
It's still tough for me to put Louisville there, but when I think about those two rosters, I think about North Carolina, how they're, obviously they're starting in the top 25. That roster,
they looked really good the other night.
They did, but a couple young guys that they're relying on as well, right? I have to agree. I hate to just be that homer. It sounds like some, I think Louisville's going to be I think that we've got a better team than Duke. I think that things that there's more that the players for Duke's key guys are going to have to learn than our key guys, right? Less adjusting maybe as well, even though our front court's going to have some adjusting as the European pros, but those guys are going to have to adjust to college basketball, adjust to each other as well, having been all the go-to guy just a year ago at their last stop before being at Duke. I'm going to go with you at Louisville, though, at 1. I'll say we both agree to Duke at 2, though.
Yeah, 100%.
What do you have for 3? It kind of gets weird right away.
See, I think the whole, like, the Miami, NC State, UNC, I think they're all going to be up there. I'm not bought into Florida State at all. I don't think that team's going to be any good. I think they're going to be terrible.
I think they'll be okay.
Who was it that got on you because you said that you thought they were going to be good or whatever? You're like, I thought they were going to be okay.
Yeah, somebody said, Roman, just because they scored 104 points and let up 109 to Alabama doesn't mean they're going to be good. I was like, hey, I never said they were going to be good.
So they're going to be okay.
So they weren't going to be bleak.
They did score 104 points. So, it's got to be something. But I think that number 3, with what we've seen so far, I'm going to put UNC right there. I think that their young talent's really good. It looks like Hubert Davis has those dudes playing some high-quality defense and scoring pretty efficiently. Now, it's also a Hubert Davis coached UNC team that hasn't succeeded yet since they went to the big game, a while back. So that's a rough estimate.
Yeah.
But from what we've seen right now, I'm picking UNC.
I'll agree. I'll go UNC at 3. At 4, it's kind of tough, honestly. I think you can go Miami. I think you can go NC State. I think you can go SMU, and you have a logical reason for just about all of those. I don't think Clemson's going to be as good. I think Virginia will be good. I'm going to go NC State at 4.
I like that. I'll tell you there.
At 5, I'm going to trust that the Miami coach is going to need some time, having never coached before, even with that roster. I don't think he'll be in that spot yet. I really do think SMU can slide into that 5 spot. I don't know how you're going to feel about this. Give me Syracuse at 6.
I don't hate it. It's just, gosh, man, it's really tough because you're taking the ACC from last year, which was just god awful in terms of like where they used to be. And then you're going to, there's a lot of coaching changes, a lot of turnover, and a lot of teams that look like they can be really good. So I don't hate it. My 5, so my 3rd was UNC. My 4, I think I'll tell you NC State. My number 5, I think I am going to put Clemson there.
Really?
I think I'm going to put Clemson there.
I would go Virginia over Clemson.
Really?
With the new coach, Odom?
See, that's why. I just don't.
He's experienced, though.
He is experienced. I'm more bought in on somebody like Will Wade than I am Odom right now.
See, my thing, true. I agree with that. But Clemson, I think that Virginia spent a little bit more money on that roster. I think they brought back a couple of players that they can be utilized. I don't know what Clemson lost some guys. And I just haven't looked too in depth into what they've replaced them with. No anyone too notable though.
I mean, they're returning Dylan Hunter and Ace Buckner. Those are going to be like their kind of main guys going forward, which doesn't really surprise me. It's going to be one where
I remember Dylan. I remember him from last season.
It's going to be one of those things where can your coaching from last season carry over to here? You know what I mean? Like it's going to be like this team was good last season. Yeah, can you trust the coach to replace those pieces you lost? And I mean, they've shown success in the past couple of years in the ACC already, and last year was obviously probably their best in a while. So I'm going to go ahead and buy in on them at the moment and say that, the coaching is going to lead them early on in the season. Does that change in the first 3 weeks? Possibly. But right now I'm going to take Clemson.
Okay. I'm not mad at that. I've got Syracuse at 6 for 7. It does get tough right here. I'm going to go Virginia.
Okay. I'll take Virginia with you right there. I'm down with that.
I'm not going to do the thing where I put FSU too high. I do think Miami is right in that spot as well. I think they probably have the talent to be in that 5-6 range with NC State, SMU. But ultimately, though, I don't know about that coach, right? I think that he's going to have a lot to learn as well. So I've got him in that 8 spot. It's kind of a toss-up with these new teams, with some of these teams through their new coaches. I don't know how good Notre Dame and Pitt are going to be because I know the guard plays pretty good for both, but I haven't seen the front courts for each of those teams yet. I know Notre Dame, I believe, brought back one of their bigs. I'll go Pitt at 9.
It does. It gets really weird right here. Like it's a bunch of teams that like are all kind of in the same boat. I like Pitt at 9. I think Notre Dame below them at 10. Then Stanford.
Really?
Then Boston College. Oh, I skipped Georgia Tech. I'll put Georgia Tech at
11.
I'll put Georgia Tech at 11. Yeah, I forgot about Georgia Tech.
I think Cal will be all right. I can't decide who's going to be the worst team in the ACC.
This is
going to be Boston College. Probably.
This is the part where they're way too early.
Last night, yeah, it's just way too early to tell.
It's so difficult.
We'll just keep the top 5: Louisville, Duke, UNC, NC State, SMU. I think Syracuse will surprise people this season. I think Virginia will be good. I think Miami will be good. I think Pitt shouldn't be bad. I think Georgia Tech. They got some dudes. They've got some dudes at Georgia Tech. It'll be tough to. They lost their point guard, though. That's why I've got Syracuse up so high, is that they've got a revamped backcourt, and the talent there is very good on the perimeter in Syracuse. Just a matter of if they're going to be able to defend, I think. SMU, they did really, really good with their traditional recruiting. They brought some of like 3 different top 100 freshmen in, I believe, which, granted, those are top 50, I believe, which those can be wavering talents once you get out of that top 20, but still. Going to be a handful of good teams I think are going to be battling in that middle of the pack in the ACC this year. That was the point that we were trying to make with that. There's also been some performances from some teams that we're going to see, Matt. I thought Tennessee looked on and off. I got to watch their full complete highlights. They looked good in some moments and then slow in some moments where they've got a lot of learning to do, where that team's going to have to do a lot of adjusting to the Rick Barnes system there. Nevertheless, though, Nate Ament, they keep calling him. He looked good, but still, he's feels like there's another gear or two that he should be able to reach.
He's looked good, but like he's looked good for like, okay, this dude, is going to go out there and get you
He's also looked
12 and
for a couple
7,
minutes.
you know what I mean? Like he looked like a good player, but like from what I've seen in the rest of the freshman class this season, like I'm waiting for this dude to kick in. You know what I mean? Like I'm waiting for his breakout already. Yeah. Everybody's had one already this season, so we're waiting on Nate Ament at this point.
Darius Acuff, he's like that, Matt. He is very, very good. He put on a showing last night for Arkansas. I believe he's going to be a bucket getter for them this season. DJ Wagner played off of him pretty well, I thought. Didn't take the best jumpers, but I think that Darius Acuff is going to be a handful for us, if I'm being honest. So be on the lookout. Don't be surprised if he's 20 points, 6, 7 assists against us or something like that.
I wanted to get to this because I have to leave after this segment, but somebody just now texted in saying, Matt saying Blacksburg in October is among the most beautiful places he's ever been at shows that he hasn't done enough traveling in his life. I have not.
Have you not?
I traveled a little bit as a kid. I've never left the country, though.
Okay.
So, like.
But have you been to, like, how many states off the top of your head, you think?
Probably 10.
Really?
Like, a decent amount. My family used to travel a lot when I was growing up. A bunch of my family's from out West Coast.
Okay.
So, like, I would go out West Coast. I've been in Nevada, been to Arizona, been to California a bunch of times. Been to Washington, been to all these places. But, I mean, Blacksburg in October is very underrated. Like, all the colors are changing. It's not like mountainous. It's like hills with a bunch of trees and a bunch of foliage. So it's really pretty out there.
A lot
like
of green.
It's a college campus. Like it's a really pretty college campus. So yeah, I'm not comparing it to like Mount Fuji in Japan, but Blacksburg in October is a pretty nice place.
I'm trying to think. So obviously, like Alaska was definitely the most beautiful place I've been, and then we went.
Want to go there? It's on my list.
We went into Canada during that trip. And some of the sites we got to see in Canada, like there's this waterfall we went to, just absolutely gorgeous. A couple of peaks that we went to that the scenery was just unreal when you looked out into the distance. Outside of that, though, I'm trying to think about what the most beautiful thing in like within the land here of our states that I've seen is, and it's really tough. It's really tough. I mean, I think it's got to be that area. Like West Virginia has some very, very pretty parts that I've seen. Michigan, like Saugatuck, Michigan.
Yeah.
That was gorgeous as well.
It's all subjective, too.
It is.
Right. Like some people like.
Depends on how you grew up and what you think is.
Some people some people think cities are the most beautiful thing you go to. You know what I mean? Some people like being in the wilderness. No, it's all subjective.
Couple more texts in here before we get out for this segment. And to the start of the last hour of the Mike Rutherford Show, and before we lose Matt as well. Couple of texts. Texter says. Find our spot.
I think the last one was, it says, this is what I told my group text last night.
Oh, yeah. Do you guys think the full court press. This is what I told my group text last night. That was opponent shaming. A lot of top 25 teams are playing small schools. They're not beating them like this. That's what we were talking about in the group chat last night as well. That was a big point of emphasis.
Yeah, I mean, you can't take anything away from this. Like, you can sit here and we can make the argument that if we won 100-70, then we're like, it's a small school, we handled business. The spread was like 25.5 or 28.5, something like that, right? But we were up 72 to like 14. You know what I mean? Like there's not a lot you can take away from this and shame on it. So like, if there's anybody out there that's going to you Louisville fans and being like, well, you didn't play any time. Okay, we held them to 4 field goals leading into like the last 10 minutes of the second half. And celebrate your win.
Yeah, and the intensity didn't waver the entirety of the game. Celebrate that.
Celebrate.
Texter says, Ollie runs like what I imagine Trevor Kelsey would run like. Don't say that. Trevor can run. I probably would look something similar, though.
Tottenham has put it on these dudes right now.
What's the score?
It's 4-0, and they're at man down.
Really? How did it go man down a long
like
time?
10 minutes ago.
Wow. Bayern Munich beating PSG 2-0 right now, if you care about that kind of thing. Liverpool beating Real Madrid right now 1-0, if you care about that. A lot of Champions League action happening. A couple upsets potentially on the way here. Arsenal getting the win. We'll be playing tomorrow, Barcelona against Club Brugge. Chelsea playing tomorrow as well. Man City playing Dortmund. That's a big matchup tomorrow in the Champions League. I'm excited for the
Champions League football is always good.
it's the best. It's the best.
It's not the best for like if you're a casual viewer because
True,
Champions League football is slower. It's more defensive. But if you're a soccer man, God, it's so fun.
The excitement, watching teams who don't get to typically play against each other, how they stack up, what that can kind of mean for the leagues. It's always fun. It's nice, especially if your team's good enough to be making it as well. I say that as a fan who has never really had to worry about not being in the Champions League. Granted, Barcelona spent a lot of years not making it out of the group stage, which was rare.
Still in it.
But still making it, right? Still having a chance, which is technically what matters most. But this is going to wrap us up here. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this, right here on the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical on the Big X.
Who put this beat together, man?
Yo, that's the DJ Unknown.
What?
here today. Shout out to the viewers on WBNA TV and the viewers on the Big X YouTube page, and of course to our listeners here live, and to the podcast listeners as well. Just me here, in and out the show. Going to see what we can do about us maybe getting a special guest on, but we're going to read more text. Send in whatever you want me to get into or address, and we'll get into it, and we'll address it. We're also going to be having a Ticket Punchers show from 5:30 to 6 p.m. today. Maybe going to try to get that up sooner than later, just because get my co-host on, and we can talk some bets if we don't have Mike in here today. We've addressed basically everything there is to address in this Louisville basketball game. I've looked through here my notes, and I don't believe there's anything I haven't gotten into. A couple of other different things happening, obviously, in the realm of sports that we're going to get into. But before we do that, we're going to get here on this Game Day Men's Health text line and read some of these texts. Texter says, from Chris the Plumber, Kobe Rogers and Taekwon Dean look like brothers. They look kind of alike. I feel like, I don't know just how accurate the image of Taekwon Dean's face is in my head, especially at that age, but I believe he had a more narrow nose. I feel like Kobe's got a wider nose than Taekwon. Outside of that, though, the hair, I guess, kind of similar. Kobe, longer version of it. Build's not too far off. I think Taekwon's face just looks a little bit more narrow looking. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe I need a refresher on that. Send in more text for us, Chris the Plumber. We'll get to him. Texter says, is it me or does Kenai Roots have a body that is built for the NBA? He does. He 100% does. Growing more into that body right now, actually. We've seen he a lot more narrow looking last season than he's looking right now. Chest kind of filling out a bit. He has more room to grow, though, I think. It's just, I think that he's just now probably getting to that point of where he's able to put on true muscle. I mean, what is he, 19, 20? It's only a matter of time before he's putting on even more muscle than that. So if he continues to get more skilled with his ball handling, the shot gets better, and he stays a tenacious rebounder and defender, then he is 100% going to get NBA scouts looking at him because he does have that body type. But he still needs to get a little bit stronger. Just a little bit. The fastest guy out there, but his processing is high IQ. He's knowing where the ball is going to go. He's predicting stuff. He's still calling things out defensively and helping his teammates with his communication defensively. I can't expect European pros to come over here and immediately shift and look perfect in this game with all of their movements. However, I don't think they necessarily look slow. I think it's just a matter of time. I also don't think we were really gassing the team up. I think we were gassing the performance up, but I felt like kept it realistic with our opinions on, performing like this against SC State and just wanting to carry this over and grab as many different positives from this game and have them be consistent when we play more top-level talent. I think we're all wondering how we're still going to look, as not necessarily as a fan base, but I feel like there's a lot of fans who are still questioning how this team's going to perform against Kansas-like opponents, right? Not going to take too much away at all about how you plan to look for the entirety of a season based on a Bucknell game and based on an SC State game, and the one game against opponents that are more similar, the opponent that's similar to what the ACC looks like, we didn't perform well. And I feel like most people are still ready to see us perform like we have the last two games against a quality opponent. I think there's been a lot of gassing up. Now, I was gassing Michael up, right? I was definitely giving him his props, being able to create shots for his teammates, get downhill like that, finish with either hand, pass with either hand. The range is clearly limitless. He's worth gassing up, but I feel like we've addressed the things that we want to see continue to be built upon and improved here at the start of this season. Let me know if I'm wrong. Were we gassing this team up in the beginning? I mean, you score 104 points, only allow 45 points. It's hard not to gas them up, but I still feel like we kept it realistic with the expectations going forward. We've not really altered any expectations. Let me know on the Game Day Men's Health text line if we were gassing up the Louisville Cardinals a little bit too much there early on in the show. Texter says, Rashawn should shut up. Too much bulletin board material for both UK and Cal. Now, if you think that's like material for UK fans, and obviously that's not Rashawn Meyer's quotes aren't going to be put up in the UK locker room, I don't think. But for the UK fan base and the fans that are in tune with his takes on UK, for sure. I mean, if you feel that way, you feel that way. Now, with what he's saying about Cal, he's watched Cal. He's watched Louisville football. We all have seen Cal have opportunity this season to pull upsets off and not make it happen. We've watched how they've looked on the road. Not necessarily terrible, but I feel like they've had a loss or two potentially on the road. I got to go back and look that wasn't against an opponent that is necessarily better than them. I'm not really worried about Cal either, if I'm being honest. Virginia marched onto their home field, scored 31 points. Could have probably scored a few more than that, if I'm being honest. Cal went to Virginia Tech, lost in double overtime. Granted, that's double overtime, but still. Lost to San Diego State on the road, didn't score a point in that game. Granted, they beat Boston College on the road. They beat Oregon State on the road, but they've lost some games they shouldn't have. They did not look good against North Carolina at home. They just, I don't expect them to travel well here at this point in their season. Yeah, 5-4, you're going to be able to play for a bowl game. Your season's not technically over. You have big moments you can look forward to based on this season because you're not just bottom of the barrel. With that being said, though, you're not going to really achieve anything major. Just how hard are you playing on a road game November 8th against Louisville, the 14th team in the nation? Yeah, you want to try to maybe get that upset, but I don't worry about them. Virginia Tech can score 42 points on them. Virginia can score 31 points on them. Right? Duke scoring 45. Louisville's offense is going to be able to roll against them, and I have the utmost confidence in our defense and their ability to go out there and make big plays consistently, especially on their home field. So if you want to tell them to shut up about the UK stuff, I can understand why you might feel that way. If I was him and we ended up losing that game against Kentucky, I wouldn't like the sound bites. I would, make me want to hit the wall even more at night after that game. But with that being said, he believes UK isn't going to be good enough defensively for what we're doing. He doesn't think Jalen Lowe is very good. He broke that down for us a bit as well. So you've got to, take your hats off on him having that kind of confidence in his teams. You like Louisville fans to be confident in their teams. Well, when's the last time Louisville fans felt like we actually, with reason, could be confident about a Louisville-Kentucky basketball game? It's been a handful of years. Like last year, there's so much of the take of we're injured and we just haven't done it, right? It's hard to predict and believe we're going to do it when we haven't had it happen in quite some time, even if it is 2 new coaches and 2 new systems, and we lost. So that take kind of feeds into feelings you could be having now even more so. But with that being said, if you believe this team's better than UK, if you believe they're playing better basketball than UK right now, which we're going to find out maybe tonight a little bit, they'll be playing, then you should say those things. Let them be known. Why not? Rashawn texted me here, said, tell them I said screw UK and Cal. So he's sticking to it. I'm not mad at it. I like it. The rivalry needs it. The rivalry needs bulletin board material. If there's bulletin board material, that means that there's intensity. That means that these two teams are taking each other serious, and that's all I want. I want to win, though, too. Badly. Texter says, did Mike get suspended or something? Louisville number 12 or 13 in the poll tonight. Go Cards. I'm with you, Texter. Give me number 12. Abelson doesn't believe we're going to be number 12. Mike doesn't believe we're going to be number 12, which they're probably, usually when they're predicting the same thing like that, it's rarely not the case. But I think that Miami loss is big. I think that Georgia Tech loss is big. There's got to be some voters that aren't that are non-believers on Georgia Tech that know they can't put Miami up there. I feel like you've got to throw us up there. Maybe I'm crazy. Texter says 7 days. Woo! 7 days until we are hosting the Kentucky Wildcats in the Yum Center. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. Stallworth texted in. Got some statistical stuff here to look at. Let's get to his first text. Hopefully we won't. Okay, that was his text where he meant Jackson State. Talking about Ohio. Yeah, we've got Jackson State on Thursday. I don't think, with the way that they looked in the second half against SC State, I don't see why they would overlook a Jackson State. Jackson State losing yesterday 113-55 to number 17 Illinois. So, yeah, Illinois getting their season started. They scoring over 100 points, getting to the 113 mark. Jackson State only scoring 55 points. Devin Reed, though, like the text line mentioned, 19 points in that game against Illinois. So he's kind of maybe seeming like he's going to be their go-to guy. Let's go look at the shot attempts here. Yeah, he tied for the most, or well, they had a guy on the bench that took the most shot attempts, but tied for the most shot attempts out of the starting unit. So you can expect Devin Reed to be trying to make some things happen against us as well. Stallworth also says here, since Kentucky and Purdue lost at Lucas Oil Stadium in the Sweet 16 this past March, I think neither team will make it back to Indianapolis come April 2026. That would be cool. That'd be nice. Speaking of Lucas Oil Stadium, the last time Louisville played a game there was the last time they played an NCAA tournament game in an even number year, March 2014. Unfortunately, like the 2011 team who lost to Morehead State, free throws and defensive rebounding cost us. Yeah, did we give up an offensive rebound in that game in 2011 to Morehead State and couldn't hit free throws? I cried after that 2011 Morehead State loss. I believe we were only a 4 seed. Maybe that's wrong. I was still a young cat, still new to my diehard Louisville fandom at that age. I've only been watching every Louisville game kind of fan, probably like for 2 years at that point. Maybe 3 years at that point. But I remember being in tears after that Morehead State loss. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, March 2014, last even number year we were in the tournament, was also at Lucas Oil. Shout out to Stallworth. Love those specifics. Love those details. Look forward to them every day. Follow me back on X, Stallworth. Texter says, hey guys, I work nights at UPS, so I typically have to listen to the podcast version of the show, but I just wanted to see what Roman thinks of Arsenal so far. Do you think they will win the Premier League this season, and can they win the Champions League? That's a great question. That is a great question. And Arsenal, I feel like they're finally putting everything together, right? I think that you're getting everything in the attack that you can want. You've got depth in your attack now. You've got multiple options in your attack. You've got some versatility. Mikel Merino, nice pickup for them. Leandro Trossard has been great. I mean, Declan Rice is obviously one of the best best midfielders in the Premier League. He's what keeps them going, though. I feel like, and I don't mean this any kind of way, I'm not wishing this upon any kind of thing. Barcelona was in this status for about a decade, right? They're a completely different team when you take Declan Rice off the field, though, and they've got to be able to consistently have that security in the start of their defense and in the start of their attack with that position. So, I mean, obviously Barcelona was in that position with Sergio Busquets for quite some time, but I like Arsenal this year. I like their chances. They've got the defensive depth as well. I don't know how to say his name, but Piero Hincapié, he's great. Ecuadorian left back, super aggressive, super good player. Gabriel Saliba, 10 Twin Towers down there. I'm going to say this, though. I don't think they can win the Champions League. I feel like you've got to have that all-out, no matter what, like, they can create chances type of striker. They've got the Gyökeres kid from Sweden. I don't know. I just don't know if they're going to be able to consistently put goals when they go up against other top defenses that are throwing every player in front of the box. But Eze, he's been one of my favorite players in the Premier League for about 3 years now, I'd say. I love the ability from Eze. He's can pass, can shoot, can dribble, and he's clutch as well, which I like that. A player that stuck around at Crystal Palace for quite some time trying to make things work out there, improving his game there, but they were never able to get over the hump. And he goes over to Arsenal, and now you're seeing the kind of immediate success in their fluidity for him. So, quick little soccer talk there. But I think they're going to win the Premier League. I'll make that my official prediction. I'll give that to Arsenal, but I don't think they're going to win the Champions League when it's all said and done. What do you think, Matt?
I mean, this is the season where if Arsenal don't do it, I mean, that's the most, out of all the disappointing seasons they've had in the past 3 or 4 years, this would be the most because, I mean, Liverpool has kind of pooped their pants already. Man City, it just looks like a shell of what they were before. Like, it's all in their hands. They already control their own destiny now. It's a long season. We don't know what's going to happen, but they definitely have the pieces to do it this year. But I also agree with you that Arsenal just don't look like a Champions League-esque team. So the Premier League definitely in their hands. Champions League, I'm going to have to say no.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the striker play looks like going forward here in the next month or so. But I think if they can get to consistently scoring goals, they'll have a fighting chance in the Champions League. I just think when it's all said and done, the big name, big teams have the players they need to score goals at that position, while Arsenal has them pretty much everywhere else. Texter says here, let me know if that's enough for you, Texter. Maybe you're going to be hearing that on the podcast, so you're not going to let me know till tomorrow maybe, but hopefully that satisfies your answer there. Texter says, Red River Gorge is absolutely absolutely lovely in Kentucky's most scenic area from Boxcar Bob. My dad just, cool dad's building a cabin out there in Red River Gorge, I think. I think he got his hands on some space out there, and he's super excited about it. He rides dirt bikes out there all the time. I've seen a lot of different pretty areas around Kentucky, I feel like, but I've still somehow never been to Red River Gorge, and I'm ready to change that. I'm actually trying to change that here like this week or next week, if I can.
I've never been there either, but I've heard it's really pretty. A bunch of my friends always go there. It's one of those things where it's like, I used to love, like, camping and stuff growing up, so to me it's like, do I want to drive all the way out there to go camping again as an adult? Like, is that something I'm still going to enjoy? It honestly gets me a little nervous. Like, I'm one of those people that, like, if I spend a lot of my time and I dedicate a weekend or something to something, I want to know that I'm going to enjoy it the whole time, if that makes any sense.
No,
like, it's one of those things that I don't know if it's going to hold up as an adult like I did when I was a kid.
I get it for sure. I 100% get that. I'll always love camping, though. It was something that started off for me always centered around dirt bikes, and it kind of continued to be that way a little bit through my adult life, but camping's fun. I like regular camping as well. Lazar Guy says, 10 out of 10 excitement to see where we're at tonight in the rankings. Matt, where do you think we're going to be in the first college football playoff ranking drop-in tonight?
I think we're going to sit around the 14 or 15. I think we're going to sit like right where we're at.
Lane.
I think that we're pretty properly rated at the moment, unfortunately. Like, I want to see us higher. I just don't think we're going to get the respect that we all want to have at this moment. I think they're going to wait. I think we're going to be really close. And I think if we go and we play Cal this weekend and we truly handle business, I'm not talking we don't got to beat them by 50, but, like, if we handle business, then I think that we'll get into that top 12 just next week. But I think this week we'll be right outside.
I hope you're wrong, but you're probably going to be right. I feel like that's where the majority of predictions that I'm seeing from Louisville fans have kind of been. I'm hoping for a 12. Let me see us up there. And I know that what you told me yesterday, you don't really actually always like to see Louisville in those kinds of spots, especially not the football team. I get the feelings because I feel the same way when that happens. Right now we get talked about like that's the expectation. Now there's only more room for disappointment. But I also think when we're a good team, I want us to get that notoriety. I want us for people to recognize that and to show that they also feel the same way. People who are not biasly Louisville fans, people who do that for a living. So, because I know we're right there, Matt. I know we're right there. We're right there on the cusp. It's like when you've got a what's the analogy I'm looking for here? Like when you've got a 79.78% in a class.
Oh, yeah, and you're just looking to, like, get your grade
and the teacher's going to give you a C. Like, come on, just give me the B. Just give me the B.
Give me the B already.
Just round that up.
It's like, I love seeing us in that national spotlight, getting the respect that we deserve, but I always feel uncomfortable with it because at least in our lifetime, I feel like every single time I've watched Louisville, at least football, be in a nationally ranked setting where like they control their destiny, they always choke it.
Yeah.
They always throw it up. Like it never stops. And then like you'll see the 1 week, just like this week, where all of the pundits and the media analysts have Louisville in their in their playoff boards. Some of us got us hosting. We always screw it up, and I'm just like, I'd rather always be the underdog. But like you said, it's something that like I'm gonna have to get used to because in the Jeff Brom era, that's what we're pushing for. That's what I want. So that's something I got to get used to. A question I had for you is coming into Cal. It's not a big game, for us to like really stress out a lot, but with Isaac Brown being out from guaranteed multiple weeks, it looks like right now, and Duke Watson hasn't been cleared to play, but we kind of all expect him to come back. How comfortable are you with Duke Watson and Kewan Brown kind of leading the charge for these next few weeks, possibly all the way up until the SMU game?
And do we even have confirmation that Duke's going to be a part of that yet?
That's what I'm saying. Like we don't know yet, but like he's going to come back before Isaac, I'm expecting. So at any point, it's going to be them two going up until at least that point.
I'm okay with it. I think we've seen great stuff from Kewan the last 2 weeks, both in the passing game, and both in the run game and the pass game. I mean, we've seen good stuff from Kewan in the pass game all season long. He's had a few different receptions. Actually, one was called back early. One of those first 2 games, he had a great reception that did get called back, I believe. But he's been good in the pass pro, I think, as well. That's why you brought him back. That's why you wanted him. For this reason, for if something happened that you weren't planning for, do you have the guys you need to go out there and still get some production? And you do. Kewan can be that. You've just got to get a little bit from something else, Matt, and that's where I do have a bit of a worry. Kewan hasn't asked to be RB1 full load type of carries this season for the entirety of a game, right? If it's a close game at the end of the game and we need to run the ball and we need yards, does he have his legs underneath him still? And do you have any confidence in anybody you go to if it's not Duke Watson? How is Duke Watson going to feel? How's he going to look, right? If he's not 100% with that lower leg kind of an injury, he's just one more tackle away from retweaking that injury a bit and then having it be just bad enough to where he's not willing to play. So that is kind of what's scary about it, having guys play who aren't 100%. But I think you have to trust that Kewan Brown has shown you enough this season to go and be productive, but Jeff Brom also has shown that he can be creative and he can think outside of the box when he doesn't necessarily have every part out there that he wants. So that's kind of where I'm at. What about you, Matt?
I agree with you. I think that Kewan Brown has showed us enough this year that we should definitely at least be trusting him. Like, he definitely deserves the opportunity to try and do his best effort and get the job done. I want to see them, if Duke Watson comes back healthy and we're ready for him, I want to see them share some snaps and get him get his legs going more than we have this season because we really haven't gotten that opportunity yet. But if anything, if they're both back, Kewan Brown deserves to lead that running back room and then Duke Watson come in. I'm just excited to see what he can do. This is the opportunity he's been waiting for. Hopefully he's back healthy this week, if not by next week. We just kind of got to do what we can.
You're right. Hopefully we can continue to do so. Keep finding ways to win. That's kind of just been the story of this season so far, outside of that Miami game, is finding ways to get it done, finding ways to win when it's not the way you expected. But this is going to wrap us here on this second to last segment of the Mike Rutherford Show. Stay tuned. We've got one more after this before we get to the Ticket Punchers here live on 96.1 FM, 1450 AM, Big X Sports Radio. Didn't have a mic today, just you and I. But we've made it happen. We've gotten to a few things, and there's a couple more things that we're going to get to, and that are some text here on the Game Day Men's Health text line as we react to what you guys have sent in here. Matt, we're also going to pick some games here for today. We've got some college basketball on tonight. We've got some NBA on tonight. We've got some college football on tonight. And I feel like we should be able to give the listeners a nice little juicy 2 or 3 or 4 leg parlay for the evening of sports. But before we do that, let's get into these texts here. Matt, you still good to go?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Texter says, Scoots Hater here. Or did we get to Lazard guy's text? We did. Scoots Hater here. Roman, hurry, Roman. We get Frank on the show while Mike isn't on. Oh, I guess we probably could have. We probably could have tried to maybe reach out to Frank. I don't know if he would have replied. Probably not on this short notice. But we do need to get Frank on. It's only a matter of time. Frank was chatting with the fans last night on X. He said he had too many energy drinks. Who's up? What are your thoughts on the game? Had a lot of different people replying to him, and he was replying well into the late night last night, which is super cool that he's already getting right to it, getting active with the fan base on social media, being even more a part of this team than he has already been, and it's great. It's great. Shout out to Frank. He's our in-team hype man. Also probably helps these guys stay concentrated, reminding them that, you make mistakes, you'll be all right. You're still going to get to where you're going to get in that manner that's comfortable for them to hear. So we love that. Texter says here, Krista Plummer, I can't read that. Texter says, Roman, who did you vote for and why? I'm not going to answer that on the radio.
We're getting the nitty-gritty now in the last segment of the Mike Rutherford show.
That's what they want to know. If you want to know that genuinely, DM me on X. I'll explain to you if you want. Pat Kelsey's lover here. Are you taking Evansville money line tonight? LOL. Is that who the Cats are playing tonight, Evansville?
The Cats are playing Nichols.
Who's Evansville playing tonight? Actually, why do I feel like I
No idea who they're playing.
I saw that name tonight. They are playing Nichols. Evansville's taking Purdue tonight. That's why I saw that name tonight.
Oh.
I was looking at that plus 35.5. I've thought about it. I really did. But it jumped significantly. It jumped 6 points.
35.5?
Yep, just like ours was. And if it's
that's a lot of points.
If it's that big, but I said the same thing about us last night. I had this crazy parlay. It was like, I do this thing where if I have a bunch of games that I kind of like, I'll put a super, super, super small increment a month, like $1 on a plus 10,000 parlay, basically, just money lines or spreads. And I did so last night. I had Syracuse. I had the over in the Auburn-Bethune game. I had P.J. Washington, Miami Heat. I had Villanova plus 9.5. We called that one. I thought they were going to win, but I really genuinely believe they were going to cover. And I took the South Carolina State plus 36.5 because if I was being honest, I thought we were going to get up big, let off the gas, shoot a bunch of threes that didn't come from good ball movement, not make a whole lot of them late in that second half. I didn't think that we were going to have that level of defensive intensity. And the 36-point favorites, they covered. They covered easily there, Matt. I'm going to stay away from this as much as I think that Purdue is not as good as people think. Going up against a team like Evansville, when you do have the shooting you've got at Purdue, it's tough, right? I'm going to stay away.
That's a stinky game. That's a stinky line. I'm a Purdue non-believer this season. Do I think they can cover this? 100% they can, but, I haven't seen anything from them out of this yet that, like you, I would just stay away. There's no reason to even look at that basketball game.
I'll watch it, though, until they get up to a big lead. I'll see how long it takes them, right? It took you 8 minutes to get up 30 on Evansville. You're terrible.
It only took us 3 minutes to get up 40.
Texter said, I had a coworker who's a UK fan ask me at work today how many points I'm giving him in a bet if Lowe, Aberdeen, and Quintons all don't play. Is their game really in this state of hysteria? I thought every player on that roster could start on any other school. That's an interesting take there. A UK fan asked me at work today how many points I'm giving him in a bet if Lowe, Aberdeen, and Queens all don't play. How many points are you going to give UK?
I don't know, because like Lowe and Aberdeen are going to play against Louisville. That's what's it's going to happen. Like, they've already stressed that they're sitting them due to like just precautionary measures, this and that. But a lot of the stuff that's coming out about this, I spoke about this on KRC earlier, is from Jeff Goodman. And Jeff Goodman is also the same man who announced that Kason Pryor is completely unhealthy and not capable of playing. And then Pat Kelsey was like, I literally have no idea where that came from. I don't know who let that out. And then Jeff Goodman comes back and does the same thing with UK, saying that Jalen Lowe, definitely not playing. He's out. He's not healthy. And then on the other end, in the Kentucky staff, they're saying he is healthy. And there's just so much going around. Somebody's lying out there. Somebody's fibbing, and it's just another stinky one. They're gonna play against Louisville, but at the end of the day, I do agree with them that there was talk all offseason that anybody on this team could start for any team they wanted, and now they're kind of backtracking after the Georgetown game. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. You overpaid for bench players. I'm just kidding. I don't know how many of these guys are truly, truly starting caliber guys at that level of play like Kentucky fans want them to be. I think that Diabate kid, he should be a pretty good defender. Not much of a shooter, though, which will be interesting. If they're not a good three-point shooting team, that's where, like, once I have proof of that going up against, like, SEC level or just top-level opponents, until I see it for certainty, I'm not going to say anything too brash. But, I mean, no Quaintance, no Lowe. If those two don't play, or are you saying Lowe and Aberdeen are going to play?
I think Lowe and Aberdeen are going to play. They've talked consistently that it's just precautionary. They could probably play tonight if they wanted to. Now, could I be wrong? Of course, but I think I'm going to give it like a 90% chance Lowe and Aberdeen play against Louisville.
Okay. I don't know. I'd say, on a home floor, I really don't think that they're going to make it very massive. I think Kentucky is going to show they're going to have a couple good displays before we see them, or at least one, and that should be a pretty close line. I'd say that we're 1.5 point favorites. Unless
if they don't play, I'll give us 6.5.
That feels like a lot. I'd say like if they don't, like 4.5. I'd say
just because you've seen like the only guard besides them right now is Jasper Johnson. And, like, he showed promise against Purdue, but looked horrible against Georgetown. I mean, terrible. Like, and he's a freshman, right? So, like, he's going to grow. He's going to get better. But if they're missing Lowe, Quaintance, and Denzel Aberdeen, they're going to have, like it's going to be Colin Chandler taking the ball up half the game. And
then I love our chances.
He's looked awful. So, I mean, like, it's gonna, like, their backcourt is going to be Jasper Johnson, Colin Chandler, and Trent Noah. Which,
yeah,
I mean,
if that's what you have out there.
If you're going to put them up against Isaac McNeely, Ryan Conwell, Michael Brown, I will, sing praise the Lord every single time I wake up in the morning.
Yeah, I'm going to take our chances there every night of the week. Texter says 12th spot goes to the group of 5. Oh, okay. I see. What time does that release? Is it going to be like 7 p.m., 8 p.m.?
I think that show is around 7:30. I could be wrong, though.
I remember it last year, being pretty excited for it. Let's see if I can find that detail real fast here.
I'll be watching it. I mean, we're going to be...
They're on ESPN tonight.
Won't be watching it. Sorry, guys. I'm not giving the mouse any more money. I can't do it. I cannot do it. I'm taking the stand. Everybody on this radio show needs to take the stand. Do not switch to Hulu. Keep your stuff. Don't buy in.
Abelson canceled his YouTube TV subscription, and he got Fubo.
I don't know if they're owned by Disney or not.
I believe they are.
That's fine. If they are, then shame on you.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen,
You're doing what they want you to do.
I need my college basketball and NBA basketball and college football. I need it. I'm sorry, and they need to figure their issues out.
We got illegal streams out there. We got to fight in the trenches. We got to keep what's ours. This country was built on revolution, Roman.
It was. We should let them do this. We should not let them take advantage of us like this.
No taxation without representation.
Texter says, what were your thoughts on number 30 not having a name on his jersey? I didn't notice that. I did not notice that he didn't have a name on his jersey. I didn't. The 30 didn't look like. If you're not Steph Curry, I feel like 30 is just not. It's such an odd point guard number. It's just not a number you really see a lot of NBA players with, for one, but especially not guards taking the numbers typically like over 21 or 22. There's a handful of them out there that do, but I feel like point guards typically don't
That's
wear 30.
In the NFL, what's the player that, like, Devontae Adams, when he got traded, he was like, hey, man, how much to pay you for my number back? And he was like, about $3 million or whatever. Like, he was like, okay, you can just have it.
Oh, yeah, who was it? Wasn't Lazard?
No, it was not Lazard. I can't remember.
I can't remember who that was. It was when he got up to the Jets.
I think it was a rookie, I think, and they had his number before he got traded.
I remember the story. I remember the story, but I can't remember who it was. But yeah, you're right. Lazar guy texted in. He's got some picks in here that he's looking at for tonight. He says Kentucky minus 30.5, expecting them to run it up after the exhibition loss. I kind of am too, but I don't know if 30.5. I mean, they should win comfortably here. I don't know if 30 makes me feel like a big number coming off of a Georgetown loss like that. But then again, Georgetown's going to be good. Iowa minus 22.5. They've got continuity, bringing over a ton of last year's Drake team. Iowa minus 22.5. I'm not mad at that. UT Martin plus 17.5. Just a fade of Josh Pastner. That's what I'm talking about, Lazar guy. Those are the picks I'm looking for right there. UT Martin plus 17.5. Fade and Josh Pastner. I'm tailing you on that one, Lazar guy, for sure. And that's wrapped us up here on the Game Day Men's Health text line. If you've got any other thoughts you want us to get into, send them in our way at 502-414-1450. Producer Matt, I do want to look, though, into any games that you're going to be watching tonight that you maybe want to try to predict in tonight's slate. We've got Nichols, Kentucky 31.5-point favorites, as Lazar guy mentioned. Florida State playing tonight, getting their season started. They're 27.5-point favorites. I don't think there's really a good matchup, though, from any two top teams. Oh, you got Texas and Duke.
Yeah, Texas and Duke tonight.
Keep forgetting that they're playing tonight.
What is that on ESPN too?
It'll be on ESPN.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I love freedom, Roman. I love freedom.
You're right.
I love free will, freedom of choice.
You can watch Stanford tonight on ACC Extra, I think.
Oh, I might do that. Might tune in. I'll put Stanford in my bottom of the ACC, so let's see if they prove me wrong.
Let us know what your guys. If you've got YouTube TV, let me know what your solution has been, what you've done to combat the issues that they've been experiencing with ESPN on the Game Day Men's Health text line. If you've canceled your YouTube TV, if you've gone a different route with the provider, or if you've taken the streaming route, let me know. I'm interested to see how many different options people are actually taking, or if anyone's actually doing anything different. I know that somebody like Abelson, he can't not watch college football. He absolutely needs it. So it was only a matter of time before he made a switch. But I don't know. I haven't heard of very, very many people making a change yet, Matt.
I haven't either. I've seen a lot of people really hold the line on this. Like, I even saw yesterday, J.J. Watt himself tweeted out, and he was like, so I guess we're all just not watching Monday Night Football because I refuse to give them any more money. And I was like, thank you. Somebody who is literally in the media is saying something about it, and that just makes me happy because it has actually angered me how many ESPN employees and personalities and, like, faces that you see on TV just keep sending the same tweet out, be like, oh, go to keepmychannels.com and say, bro, I know you're paid to say this. Stop. I don't care. Like, Adam Schefter tweeted out today, dude, I just want to know about the trades. I don't care about how much ESPN paid you to tweet this. I just don't care.
Yeah, speaking of, Sauce Gardner traded to the Colts. That defense in win-now mode kind of gave up a lot. Wasn't it 2 firsts?
They gave up 2 firsts.
2 firsts. That 2 firsts sounds crazy, if I'm being honest, for Sauce Gardner. I get he's one of the young, good talents at his position.
He's having a down year, though.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like the down year started at the, like, okay, it's been a down season, yes. But I feel like at the halfway point of the season, he started to look a little bit shaky. Obviously, that was a Jets defense, and they got rid of their defensive coordinator, defensive-minded head coach, so maybe that played a part. But he hadn't been what we've seen in his first 2 seasons in a while, it seemed like. But then again, how much attention are we really, really paying to Jets football, especially when Aaron Rodgers got hurt and stuff? So
you got to give it though. You got to give it to Charlie Ursay Gordon. I mean, she is buying into this team right now.
yeah,
like
he's tuned in.
She is like, look, we have a team. I'll give everything we have to make it better and win a Super Bowl if that's what I got to do. So I respect it, honestly.
And I can't be mad when you see that this team's performing better than you thought, and you have the opportunity to do something kind of cool because of how the other teams in the NFL look right now. I'm not mad at buying into win now mode at all. Go get Sauce Gardner. 2 firsts.
Speaking of,
feels crazy.
How do you feel about the Saints?
The Saints, you're right, have traded Rashid Shaheed to the Seattle Seahawks, and
just load them up even more.
Yeah, this is probably, I mean, I can't say the deepest wide receiver room, but there's a lot of skill, experience, versatility, athleticism, like anything you need from a receiver. Seahawks can point to it now somewhere and say that they've got it, right? And that's kind of scary for Sam Darnold and what he's going to maybe be able to do. He's already been one of the best quarterbacks in the deep passing department this season so far. That should only help. That should only improve it.
I mean, last year you saw it with, he had Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and he had some great success leading up until the playoffs. And now the whole issue was, well, the Vikings defense towards the end of the year kind of faltered, and they were having to outscore a bunch of teams. I mean, you have the best defense in the NFL by a bar mile. It's not even close. So, like, if Sam Darnold cannot get a job done in the playoffs this year, then the dude is just cursed, and his career might be over. He might be back up for the rest of his life.
That's terrible. You're wishing bad ill upon him now, Matt.
I'm not, because I want to see it. I want to see him succeed. But, my God, you are set up for success more than I've seen a quarterback in a long time.
Yeah.
So, if he can't do it, it's on him.
One of the biggest trades, though, here today has been Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys. Which
these dudes, the Jets, are just emptying the tank. They are imploding. They've nuked this program. It's gone.
It's kind of weird to see Sauce Gardner go for 2 first, and then Quinnen Williams go for 1 first. When I feel like Quinnen's been at the top of his position, and Sauce has been like he's on path to being at the top of his position. Every time I see Quinnen Williams' name, I see his face, I can't help but think about the bless you, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Where he sneezed, blessed himself, and thanked himself all in a, what was it, his draft combine interview, I believe it was?
I think so. I think so, yeah.
But yes, Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys, that's another one. The Raiders trade Jacoby Myers to the Jaguars for a 4th and a 6th, I believe, which I get your Brian Thomas Jr. is hurt now. Travis Hunter just got hurt. So you're lacking in your receiver room, but it's still kind of, that's 2 picks for Jacoby Myers?
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, you could have given up you could have given up a kind of a crappy, 5th round, and then maybe a player for Jacoby. Jacoby Myers is really good.
Is the 4th round pick by itself not good enough for Jacoby Myers?
I mean,
I
it
thought
depends
the
on how much
6th round pick maybe would have been good enough, but I get he's an experienced receiver who can still play wide receiver 1 football right now. I mean, he's not anywhere near wide receiver 1 in the league, but he can still give you that. It still just feels like
in all honesty, this comes down to the fact that the Raiders saw that the Jags were in a situation where they just have to give up anything to continue to be relevant because this is their best season they've had in a little bit.
And now you need a receiver.
You just kind of hold it against them, like you jingle the keys in front of them. It's like, this is what I want.
Yeah,
this is what I want.
That's probably what is happening there. They know they need something. They're not, going to the deadline without a receiver. Can't rely on what it's going to take for Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. to get back out there healthy. So I get needing the Jacoby Myers and wanting a Jacoby Myers. But letting the Raiders take 2 picks off of you for them is just, that felt like a lot. Anything else we missed? I know there was one thing in the NFL we missed just because it was something we predicted at the beginning of the season, Matt. Cam Little, we said it. If he gets an opportunity to this year, he's going to break the record. And he got that opportunity, and he broke the record. Not really a difficult prediction as he broke what would have been the record in preseason at 70 yards. He gets that 68-yarder, though, and he knocks it through. I want to see him hit a 70-yarder, though.
It definitely could have been. He had a couple more yards on that thing. I remember when he kicked it, my whole Twitter, like, For You page was just Falcons fans talking about this guy's hitting 68-yarders and my kicker can't even make an extra point to win a game. Like, I mean, and they released him too. How many kickers are the Falcons going to release this year?
They've had some issues. There's some bad juju with the kicking position in Atlanta right now. I don't know why. It started with Young Hoku or whatever his name was. He was great, and then all of a sudden he couldn't make one to save his life, and then there were some issues, I think, off the field maybe too. I don't know what's going on with the kicking department in Atlanta, though. They need to figure it out. Defense has been better than this season than I thought it was going to be, though. Scooter Dingus texted in, Justin Caitlin, host of the Sunrise with Scoot show right here on the Big X from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. every day. He said, let's put together a producer parlay. I'll go over 49.5 in the Miami of Ohio versus Ohio game. Maction overs, baby. The Maction overs have been good this year. Okay, let's do this little producer three-leg. The three producers here at the Big X putting in their picks. We've got Scooter Dingus over 49.5 in Miami of Ohio versus Ohio. Who do you like, Matt?
Go ahead and give me yours. I'm looking really quick.
All right, I'm gonna go in the NBA for mine, just because I don't like any of these big spreads. I like to watch the college teams get to the non-conference slate of equal caliber opponents. If I'm being honest, I'm looking in the NBA tonight. I'm on the over in the Magic Hawks 229.5. That game at 8 p.m. on NBC/Peacock, so you can watch that one, Matt. Magic Hawks over 229.5. That's going to be my pick. Producer Matt, what do you like to complete the three-leg here for the producer parlay?
So since we're doing a parlay, I'm actually going to do a little bit of an alternate line. I'm going to take the Duke-Texas game, and it's like minus 10.5 right now. I'm going to move that to minus 5.5. I'm going to take that at minus 220.
You like Duke at minus 5.5 tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, there it is. Got Matt on the alternate, which is kind of, I'm not going to say lame, but he's taking the safe route, which is, I get it. I like the 5.5. I don't like the 10.5. But that's the three legs there. I like it. Three-leg producer parlay. Get those in. Lock them in. Texter says, Quentin Williams to the Cowboys. I was hoping the Ravens would get him. Yeah, that would have been huge for the Ravens if they were able to pick him up. Patriots make any trades, Matt?
I wish they did, but I have not heard of any yet. So day's not over, so there's still possibility. I know they really want some defensive players, and they really want a running back. I'm expecting to end the day with some news, but if not, we'll have to figure it out.
We'll see. Still some time left for sure. Texter says, I like under 153.5 in Duke, Texas. You like the under there, Matt?
Yeah, I don't mind the under. I don't want to mind the under of that. It's going to be two teams that, haven't really, it's going to be a pretty good matchup. Haven't really proved themselves as both, like, team units yet. So I don't mind that.
I don't mind it either. And he says, and NJIT plus 15.5 versus Fordham. Also, you skipped over my previous text. I can't read your previous text. I don't know the accuracy on that previous text enough to read it, unfortunately. I like the plus 15.5. I think Fordham was good last season, though. I'm expecting them to be good this season as well. I believe Fordham was good last season. I might be getting them mixed up with somebody else. NJIT, Fordham's moved up to 16.5. I'm seeing here on some books they opened up at 12.5 point favorites. Gosh, that's a tough one to call there. That's a tough one to call there. I'm not going to say you're wrong, though, Texter. I just personally don't have the knowledge on that game like I would need to give you a confident opinion on that, though. But, yeah, that's going to wrap us up here on the Mike Rutherford Show. Mike will be back tomorrow, I believe, so we'll be back to regularly scheduled programming. Thank you all so much for tuning in and listening in. Shout out to the texters, our loyal texters on our Game Day Men's Health text line, giving their thoughts, giving their text in here today. We really appreciate it, but we're going to be wrapping up here now. We'll have the Ticket Punchers right after this on the Big X, 5:30 to 6. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll be back tomorrow, 2 o'clock, right here on the Big X.